Testing. We are now testing this out for proper modulation.
KOZE. Talk Radio 950 KOZE AM, Lewiston.
The following is a KOZE sports presentation. For more than 40 years, KOZE has been the voice of the NAIA World Series. Tonight, we'll continue that tradition with some of the most exciting Warrior Championship games of all time. Brought to you by Masters Body Works, land title of Nez Perce County, Fazari's Finest, The Diamond Shop, Joe Hall Ford, Happy Day Restaurants, Inland Cellular, P1 FCU, Twin Rivers Physical Therapy, Perfection Tire, Martin Insurance, Columbia Bank, and Follett's Mountain Sports. It's time for classic Lewis Clark State Warrior Baseball on AM 950 KOZE Lewiston.
Well, good evening and welcome to our broadcast of past World Series games here on AM 950 KOZE and streaming KOZE.com. The COVID-19 pandemic has forced the cancellation of this year's NAIA World Series, so we thought we'd try to get together, and because Lewis Clark State has such a storied history with the World Series and Lewiston in general, Harris Field, want to introduce Mike Tatco, Jay McCall, and Denny Grubb. Mike and Jay have done games for us for many, many years, going back decades now. And, of course, folks know Denny Grubb is the World Series historian. He is also the historian for Lewis Clark State and a statistical genius in that respect. And we certainly appreciate their help in getting these games started tonight. And we're going to revisit 8 games over the next 8 days. And tonight, we thought it was appropriate to begin with how it all began. And we go back to 1984. And so I'm going to go around the room and just get thoughts from each of you. And because Mike is on my left, I'll start with Mike Tatco. 1984 was the year after LC in a game at Lubbock, Texas. There was some controversy as to whether or not Jim Odell struck out in that game. The series came back to Lewiston in 1984. What was kind of going on with the LC program at that point? What was the Valley like at that point with the series coming to Lewiston?
Well, I was in college, but I was a sports writer, and so I spent a lot of time down in the Valley most every day of the spring and went to some LC games and did a lot of high school coverage. I think the thing that sticks out in my mind is the anticipation, the buildup of this tournament finally coming to Lewiston after they had tried to get it, and it comes back and everything's great and huge crowd on opening night, and the Warriors lose to Emporia State right out of the gate, and then they have to win how many ever you have to win the national championship, and so it's a long road back, and obviously they do.
Jay McCall, you were in the booth back in 1984 with Wayne Grubb, Denny Grubb's brother.
Wayne Grubb.
I know a lot of folks were tuned into that game. It was interesting because you got through a few innings, and then rain came, and so you guys had to fill some time. And what were your thoughts leading up to the 84 game? You were there when they opened the series up with a loss to Emporia State.
Right.
Then they come back through, and here they are in the national championship game with Azusa Pacific that day.
Right.
What was it like for you in the World Series broadcasting in 1984?
Well, I echo what Mike said. You know, the anticipation was palpable. I mean, it was amazing. Everybody was so excited. Then we opened up with a loss to Emporia, and you're thinking, what are we going to do now? And then when we finally got to the championship game, it was almost surreal to have won every game in the elimination bracket, get to the championship game, then to have it interrupted by a rain delay. Denny's brother Wayne was doing the play-by-play. I was actually only doing color at that time. And probably the biggest, I guess, memory for me was that hour-plus, long rain delay. At one point, the lightning and the wind had started blowing so hard, Wayne said, look at those crazy people in the bleachers. They're moving down below. And I'm looking down below. Mike's heard this story. I'm sure you have too, Brian. And I turned to Wayne and I said, I don't think that's the bleachers. It was the old press box that was literally shaking back and forth and bouncing up against the bleachers. So not only did we, where we're going to win the championship, we were fearing for our lives. But, all turned out well. And what a performance by Trace Jazeski, who pitched that night and had sat out during the rain delay and then came back to get the win and got his 12th victory of the year. And it was an amazing performance.
Gary Piccone was the pitching coach on that team in 1984, and he said his job, we just spoke to him recently, and he said his job that night was to take Trace up into the annex building and keep him loose during the rain delay because they told him he was going to come back and pitch.
Right.
And Gary's story was that he was very calm, in fact, took a nap for a while before he came back out, and the Warriors win the national championship. Want to let listeners know we are not going to carry the rain today. We have the ability to edit through an hour and 50 minutes of the game, so we won't have to endure that again, as we'll edit the game down for time constraints. And Denny Grubb, a couple things for you, my friend. Your brother Wayne is on the air calling the game with Jay. You're there scoring the game. What was 84 like for you?
Well, first to add to Jay's story about the storm, back then in the press box we had these plastic windows, I call them, or I don't know what they're exactly made of, but the wind was blowing so hard that we had our bodies against the windows. They were pushing in, and people left. And I guess one of the main surprises there was how many people came back, And we were talking about it last night. The championship game had already been delayed a day by rain. It was supposed to take place on a Monday, and this was a Tuesday. And so there was already, when's this thing going to end type thing. I mean, the excitement was there. The fact that they won 6 elimination games. But for me, I think the main thing that first year, obviously it was a lot of work because now we're in charge of keeping track of things as far as my side of it. But we'd heard for so many years here, the Warriors had finished in second place 2 years in a row, and we heard of all these big-name teams. Grand Canyon didn't happen to be there in 84, but, LC had just lost to Lubbock the year before, and the majority of us had listened to it on the radio, and the Jim Odell strikeout, which, it's kind of like Wilt Chamberlain's 100 points. I think 20,000 people will say they heard that, and on the radio they knew it was a ball. But and they based that on the fact that Odell struck out like 6 times the whole year, and this was a called third strike. So I think for me it was just, hey, we've heard about this thing for a long time. We've heard about all these great teams. Some of these historical coaches are now here, and it was just getting it organized was a lot of work, but it was fun to finally get to the end. Like Mike said, when the Warriors lost that first game of the tournament, you're like, ee. The only thing that really helped was in their contract, I believe, well, I know for sure, the Warriors were guaranteed the night game, right, which really threw the bracket off and did not make a lot of other teams happy, because you might have an elimination game at, say, 9 or whatever time in the morning they were playing, and LC would always be in an elimination game after that first game, but they got to play at 7, so some undefeated teams were playing at 11 and 2. So that was something they changed, I think, because of a lot of critical talk from the other coaches about, hey, we're glad LC can be in the thing. We'll let them have that first night, but we got to follow the bracket and the times after that. But that was one thing that saved the tournament as far as attendance and things like that, was LC always got to play the late game, that tournament.
Correct me if I'm wrong, in an historic sense, this was the first time a team had lost the opening game of a World Series and come all the way back to win the national title. Is that correct?
Other teams have, no, it wasn't the first time that a team had lost their first game and came back. It was the first time a team had to win 6 elimination games because it was a 10-team tournament. Before, some teams only had to come back and win 4 or 5, but it had been done twice before where a team had come back through the losers bracket, but it had happened back, in the 60s, I believe, at that time. But for, like I said, again, it's like, oh. And you didn't really think at the time, how many games do they have to win to win this thing? It was a day by day thing. Who's LC got to play? Oh, they won. They're alive to play again. But so you didn't know, you weren't feeling at the time they lost was, oh man, I wonder how they're going to win this thing. It was just, who do they have to play the next day to keep going on?
Well, there you have it. Thoughts from 1984. And without further ado, let's take you back to 1984, the first NAIA National Championship game in Lewis Clark State history. It was Lewis Clark State and Azusa Pacific, 1984.
Dale Bonfield has 5 RBIs in this tournament, hitting .286 with 4 hits and 14 trips up. The DH tonight from Masoden, Washington, a sophomore, takes a big swing and a miss at strike 1.
Dale Bonfield stands in at the plate, 6 feet tall, 180-pound sophomore from Masoden. Gets a nice round from the hometown crew, and we're ready to go here in the bottom of the second.
Dale's had a couple of big hits for the Warriors, including a 2 RBI single against Southwestern University Sunday afternoon as he swings and misses at the 0-1. And he's now behind in the count, no balls, 2 strikes. With the Warriors all the way through the World Series on 4K Sports, global and easy travel service with 3 convenient offices to serve you. Bonfield fouls the 0-2 back into the grandstand as it will carry over the grandstand into the parking lot. And Bonfield will remain at the plate with a count of no balls and 2 strikes.
So far, Dale Bonfield has been to the plate 14 times. He's had 4 hits, all 4 of them singles. And he's batting .286 here in the World Series. Count 0-2. Greg Swain is on the mound for the Cougars, and Dale Bonfield's at bat for the Warriors.
Swain's big, 6'4", 210-pound senior from Downey, California. As the left-hander, once again, as Bonfield steps out of the box, he has the count of no balls, 2 strikes. Dale is ready to go. He steps back in. Bonfield, Peterson, Keith, and Brian Thomas here in the bottom of the second. Bonfield once again stays alive as he fouls a curve back to the screen, and Dale Bonfield will step back in with a count of no balls and 2 strikes.
Well, if there's an empty seat in the park, I don't know where it is, because looking out in the left field bleachers, there are people standing out in the left field bleachers on the corners, as they can't find a seat up in the general admission section, so it is standing room only here at Harris Field for the championship game of the '84 World Series.
Bonfield is ready to go once again as Swain nods yes to his catcher Franco. He likes the pitch and comes with it to the plate, hits sharply on the ground to the shortstop Grayston. He goes over to the left and fires it across to the first baseman McIver. And Dale Bonfield out number 1, bottom of the second inning as he grounds out 6-3. Out number 1, and Keith Peterson, the center fielder, will come up.
Peterson.
Keith has 1 hit here in the World Series. That was a big one, a 400-foot straightaway home run as he hit a pitch hit home run to help the Warriors once again. That was in that Southwestern University game. Hitting 200, 1 for 5 as he takes the first pitch up high for a ball.
Keith Peterson's home run there against Southwestern, he launched at 400 feet straightaway center field, just about hit the roof of the Votech building here on the campus of Lewis Clark State College, and it couldn't have come at a more opportune time for the Warriors.
Peterson checks his swing and goes around on a curveball as he was way out in front of it. Swain has a real slow change of pace pitch, and that he threw one to Miltonberger, and there he comes with one to Keith Peterson. And Keith out in front of the pitch, and the count goes even to Peterson at a ball and 1 strike. Peterson in center field for the Warriors tonight, the right-handed hitter, as opposed to the left-handed hitting Fred Quintero. Hits this ball sharply to center field as Marlott will go to the wall. It's off the wall, home run. Keith Peterson with another home run to center field. As he hit that ball sharply, center fielder Marlott went back, and you could tell he wasn't going to get to this one. Keith Peterson opens up the scoring in the bottom of the second inning with a 400-foot home run.
We couldn't have said it at a more perfect time here in the bottom half of the second inning as Keith Peterson comes to the plate talking about home runs over the 400 marker. Peterson walks up, grabs a Greg Swain fastball, and once again it's goodbye baseball, and the Warriors go on top 1-0 here in the bottom of the second inning.
That's Keith's 7th home run of the year, his 2nd of the tournament. He has been to the plate 6 times. He has 2 hits, both of those home runs. So Keith Peterson opens up the scoring here for the Warriors in the bottom half of the second with a home run straightaway center field. He has now put 2 over that green fence out in center. Up steps Brian Thomas, the shortstop, with 1 home run, 80 RBIs, hitting .273. As a right-handed hitting shortstop will step in to face Greg Swain. First score of the ballgame, 1-0 Warriors, bottom of the second. As the pitch taken down low by Brian Thomas, and the count goes 2 balls, no strikes. Greg Swain on the mound has given up only 6 runs, 5 earned runs in his 2 World Series appearances, as he has a record of 2-0 here in the World Series. The left-hander is ready to go. Once again, that slow change of pace pitch, and Thomas is out in front of it with a swinging miss, strike 1.
Well, here's a stat that you don't really like to report as far as most errors in the tournament. Brian Thomas, who is at the plate right now, has 6 errors so far. Very uncharacteristic of Brian Thomas, who's usually a very consistent player. He needs 1 more to set a record.
Thomas hits the ball on the ground to the shortstop Dan Roddy right at him as he goes to first base McIver out number 2. And Thomas grounds out 4-3 at second out of the bottom of the second inning. The Warriors have 1 run across here on a big hit, a Keith Peterson home run. Capacity crowd and more here at Harris Field as now we look down between the left field bleachers. We have people standing, so I would imagine that must be the standing room only area right there, Jay. There's not much, but the people who want to watch this ball game will stand and they'll watch it as it's going to be a good one. A 1-0 score here. Warriors lead in the bottom of the second inning. Kyle Brock takes the ball for the first pitch. Kyle Brock starting his 3rd World Series game as the big 6'2", 195-pound first baseman takes a strike for a 1-1 count.
Kyle Brock batting .455. He is the second best LC batter so far here in this World Series. He has 5 hits and 11 trips to the plate and 2 big home runs for LC.
3 RBIs for Brock, 5 for 11 here in the tournament, hitting .455. As he steps back in, a 1-1 count, hit on the ground to the first baseman, De La Cruz. Over to McIver, that's out number 3, and the Warriors are gone in the second, as Brock is a 5-3 ground out, but they do pick up a run on a 1 hit, and after 2 innings of play, the Warriors lead 1-0. It's numbers 9, 1, and 2 to come to the plate to face Trace Jazeski in the top of the 3rd inning. Jerry Marlott, the number 9 hitter and center fielder, steps in and takes a high fastball for a ball count from Trace Jazeski, a 6'1", 185-pound sophomore from Milwaukee, Oregon. Record of 11-1 on the year as the pitch misses outside and the count goes to 2 balls and no strikes. Jerry Marlott hitting .308 in the World Series. He has 4 hits in 13 trips. 4 RBIs for Marlott. Top of the order, Dan Roddy up next as Chizeski ready to work. The pitch is a fastball that misses the inside corner, and the count goes 3 balls, no strikes. Take a look at Rusty Harris. He once again is even with that bag at third. He likes to play that bag tight and short as Brock is well behind the bag at first. The 3-0 pitch misses, and on 4 straight, Jerry Marlott has a base on balls. He'll go to first base. Top of the order, Dan Roddy. Now, Roddy grounded out to Brock on the first pitch of the ball game unassisted.
Number 1, Dan
hitting .385
Roddy.
in the World Series, 5 for 13. The Corner Pocket on 21st Street hopes you'll attend all the Warrior games and enjoy the 4K coverage of Lewis Clark State. It's the championship ball game of the 1984 NAIA World Series. Here's a move over to first. And Marlott is back in time as Brock takes the throw. We have the aces of both teams going at it here. Greg Swain with an 18-5 record. Trace Chizeski with a record of 11-1. Shortstop Thomas now is over towards the second base bag as Harris creeping in at first looking for the bunt. There goes the runner. The bunt is laid down. Harris charging from third base, and there will go foul as he fields it in foul ground. And back to the plate will be Dan Roddy with a count 1 strike. The runner Marlott was breaking with a pitch off the bag, and he will come back to first base.
Notice something down on the field, Wayne, that we haven't seen before yet in this tournament. They're allowing some photographers down on the field. Not sure if those are team photographers or if they are from the local media.
Well, we have several press people here, more than what we have seen during the tournament, as our press box to the left of us, which has been manned by the Tribune reporters, is filled. And the press box down the other way, where we have the official scorers and the PA, we have people up all around here in the press box, as we have people all around the field here at Harris. Here's another move over that Brock has to make a nice play on, as Jazeski got that one down in the dirt a little bit, but Kyle Brock makes a good play. And the count at the plate to Dan Roddy is no balls and 1 strike, as the runner at first is Marlott, as Chizeski will come to the plate, and the pitch misses outside. A ball, 1 strike now, as Chizeski a little tight here in the top of the 3rd inning as he walked Marlott on 4 straight pitches, and now Dan Roddy has a count of 1 ball, 1 strike. Leland Franco is up next. Dan Roddy hitting .385 as Chizeski's pitch is fouled to the screen, and the count goes at a ball and 2 strikes.
See all these press people we haven't seen before here at the stadium tonight, and it brings out the old proverbial, where were all you guys when Emporia played Georgia College last Tuesday morning at 10 o'clock? That's what I want to know.
Marlott takes the lead off the bag as the throw over by Chizeski, once again not in time as Brock makes the tag. Guess we could say hello. I'll wait for the pitch here. A ball, 2 strikes is up high, and the count goes 2 balls, 2 strikes. Up in Hatter Creek, the David Johnson family. David, writing for the Tribune, was sitting over here Sunday watching the games, and I read in his article that he would be right next to the radio here for this championship game, so we'll say hi to David Johnson and his family up in Hatter Creek as they are listening next to the radio. Dave said he even might get his glove out and warm it up to get ready for the game here tonight.
Just read through that article. It was a great article, too. Might comment on the fact that it was some real human interest story by Dave, and a good article.
Here's a line drive to right field. Peterson will run in and will not get it. The ball bounces in front of him. Al tries to go to second base to get the force, but just barely misses at second base. As that will be a base hit for Dan Roddy, as Peterson held up to let the ball drop in front of him. The runner had to hold up Marlott. He wasn't sure if Peterson would get to it. And then when the ball did drop, Peterson picked it up and fired it to second base, but just beating the throw was Marlott as he goes to second. Dan Roddy will be at first, and with no outs, the Cougars have a threat going here in the top half of the 3rd inning. They have runners at first and second, no outs. Leland Franco, the catcher, will step in, had a base hit last time up in the World Series. Now he is hitting .412. As here's a throw to second. Hormel makes the cover at second, but not in time, as Chizeski was a lazy throwback.
Franco with 6 base hits so far in the World Series, and all 6 of those being singles.
Thomas comes over behind the runner. Now the batter puts the bat out and fakes the bunt, and the pitch is up high for a ball. Franco hitting .412 in the World Series, the catcher, as Harris is once again in on the cut of the grass at third base. The outfield straightaway. Brock is in at first. They are looking for a bunt here with no outs. As Harris starts the chart, here comes Brock from first. Once again, the square round popped up into the air. Coming over is the catcher, Chad Miltenberger, and he makes the play down the third base line for the first out of the inning. So Franco, trying to sacrifice the runners over, pops it up, and Miltenberger, with a good job behind the plate, finds the ball and picks it up for out number one. Franco is gone for an F2. Out number one, top of the third, and Joe Grayston will step in.
I almost don't want to bring it up, but the winds have started to pick up here at Harris Field, and the clouds look like they might be threatening just some shower activity just a bit, and hopefully it'll blow over. Weather right now here in Harris Field is beautiful, besides a light breeze blowing right to left field, and it's a little bit cool out there right now as we see some of the coats in the crowd coming out.
And we also see some veils over the head as the runners go. The pitch is hit to Kyle Brock at first. He has no play at third. He will go to the pitcher, Chezeski, covering at first base for out number two. But the runners move up as Dan Roddy goes to second. Jerry Marlott over to third base. And Joe Grayston grounds out 3-1. As the pitcher, Chezeski, covering the bag, out number two. And Rob Amble now will step to the plate. He had a base hit last time up. Now has 5 hits in 12 trips to the plate in the World Series, hitting .378. A left-handed hitter to face the right-handed pitching Chezeski here in the top of the third. There are 2 runners in scoring position as Dan Arati is at second base and Jerry Marlott at third. As the wind now we see kind of blowing up some dust in the infield. As the pitch from Chezeski, once again a bunt attempt as the pitch is outside. So the left-hander looked like he wanted to drag it that time as Amble had the bat out, but the pitch was away, and we have a 1-ball count to Rob Amble.
Seeing the runners on second and third brings to mind the double steal the other night and the steal from third base to home plate by, I believe it was Rick Skeevel, if I'm not mistaken.
Rating in the Azusa Pacific right up here. The pitch is fouled off. We have a 1-ball, 2-strike count now. Skeevel has stolen home 6 times. I thought maybe that was something new for him, but I was reading in the right up here. He has stolen home 6 times this year.
Nothing new for him to be making his move from third to home plate, and he did that just the other night. And Wayne and I were just kind of sitting here astounded, something you don't see very often, especially when you have 2 base runners, second and third base. And who was it? Was it Danielson, I believe, was on the mound? Was on the mound at that time, taking a full windup with the runner on third base where he could see the runners. And by the time he got through the windup, Skeevel was 3/4 of the way down to the home plate, safe by a mile there.
2 outs from the stretch is Chezeski to the plate, and the foul pitch back to the screen, and the count will remain at a ball and 2 strikes to Rob Amble. As you look into the sky, no real dark clouds up above. We see the ones kind of drifting over towards the right. The wind is picking up a little bit here, but I don't think we're in for much of a storm here if we have maybe just a trickle of rain. As the wind is picking up, Chezeski will come to the plate. The pitch is swung on and missed, strike 3. And Trace Chezeski pitches his way out of that one in the top of the third inning with 2 runners on the strikeout to Rob Amble. And the Cougars are gone in the third inning. No runs on 1 hit. They leave 2 men on base. And after 2.5 innings of play, the Warriors lead 1-0. The bottom of the third inning and the top of the order for Lewis Clark State. Rusty Harris, Scott Hormel, and Chad Miltenberger to face Greg Swain. And the Cougars from Azusa Pacific. Harris hits the first pitch on the ground, right to Phil De La Cruz. At third, he has an easy play over to J.P. McIver for out number 1. As Harris goes after the first pitch, he's a ground out 5-3. 1 out, bottom of the third.
I'm sure you could probably hear in the background right now, the wind is really whipping up here at Harris Field. The flags and the bunting on the outside have started to raffle just a bit here in the wind, and it's, I'm not sure, threatening rain, but I guess nothing right as of yet.
Swain is ready to pitch to Hormel. Scott fakes the bunt, and the pitch is a called strike. Scott Hormel in the tournament, last time up, grounded out, or he popped up to the third baseman, is hitting .292 with 7 hits in 24 plate appearances, and the count is 1 ball to him as he takes a look at the fastball on the outside corner, and we have a ball, 1 strike now to Scott Hormel. Well, during that timeout break, we did see people stand up and button the coats, put on the jackets, and tighten down the hood a little bit as the pitch is missed, and a 1-ball, 2-strike count now to Scott Hormel. 1-0 lead for the Warriors in the bottom half of the third inning. For Lewis Clark State, 1 run, 3 hits. For Azusa Pacific, no runs on 3 hits. Hormel will step back in 0 for 1 in this ball game, the right-handed hitter, as the pitch is hit on the ground to Dan Roddy. Roddy over to first base McIver, and that's out number 2. 2 ground outs, 2 outs. Warriors in the bottom of the third. Hormel is a 4-3. And that will bring up Chad Miltenberger, the catcher.
We've got a sheet of NAIA World Series stats here for 1984. It was compiled by Denny Grubb, who has been staying up all night long here the past week to do all of this. And Chad Miltenberger's name is on here about as many times as you see most on here. So
Miltenberger will step in, looks at the first pitch, it misses outside for a ball. Want a prediction, Jay, for me?
Prediction.
If the Warriors win this World Series, Chad Miltenberger will be the MVP.
That's like saying you're going to get up and eat breakfast tomorrow morning, Wayne. That's not real fair.
Well, I didn't say it was a hard prediction. I just made a prediction.
I was going to say, though, that's not really fair. That's like saying that, that I'll be on the radio tomorrow morning at 5:30.
Well, you never know. Here's this pink slip. Mr. Cozy told me to hand to you here
tonight. That's it, huh? I'm history.
Swain, 2-0 count to Miltenberger on the way to the plate. It's a call strike, and we have a 2-1 now to Chad Miltenberger. Hitting .429 in the World Series. He has tied a World Series record with 5 doubles. He has 2 home runs and 8 RBIs. As Miltenberger steps back in, the 2-1 pitch is a fastball that misses from Swain, and Miltenberger now has a 3-1 count.
I'd have to, just my own prediction anyway, if Kyle Brock had played in every World Series game, I would probably, in my mind, make him the most valuable player, as Kyle's played some super baseball for the Warriors.
Miltenberger's 3-1 pitch is a fastball from Swain on the outside corner, strike 2, as we hear a little roll of thunder clapping in the background. As Miltenberger now has a full count, 3 balls, 2 strikes. Swain checks with the catcher, Franco. The pitch is inside, and Chad Miltenberger has a base on balls. He will trap down to first base, and he's the first runner on here for the Warriors. In the bottom of the third, he'll be replaced by his courtesy runner, Fred Quintero.
Well, that's the first walk given up by the big and hard-throwing Greg Swain for the Azusa Pacific Cougars, and we've got Fred Quintero on first base, the courtesy runner for Chad Miltenberger, and that brings up Al Peterson, who's on this list just about as many times as Chad Miltenberger is for NAIA tournament records.
Well, right now, Peterson leading the tournaments with runs scored, 13. If he scores one more, that would break a World Series record, as he is hitting .400 in the series, 10 for 25. Had a base hit first time up, and he was stranded at first base. So he's 1 for 1 against Greg Swain, the left-hander, with a count 1 ball, no strikes. Switch hitter Peterson from the right side. As the 1-0 pitch is hit high into the air, the center fielder will have to come hard as Grayson goes back from shortstop. He will call and make the play for out number 3. The Peterson flying out to Grayson at shortstop, and the Warriors in the bottom half of the third inning, no runs, no hits. They leave a man on base, and after 2.5 innings of play, they hold on to a slim 1-0 lead.
Cougars with Larry Babb, J.P. McIver, and Phil De La Cruz. And we are here at the championship game with some light drops of rain falling at Harris Field, and the guy with the play-by-play is Wayne Allen.
The Warriors have been to the finals the last 2 years, the last 3, counting this one. They want to be the championship team of the NAIA World Series this year, as they have finished second the last 2. They have finished third 3 times. So the Warriors have had some impressive performances in World Series, but they want to take home the big one here. As the count 1 ball, no strikes in the bottom of the third. Ground ball hit sharply to Thomas. The ball will bounce up and hit him in the chest, and an error should be charged to the shortstop Thomas. As Babb hit it hard, the ball is an error charged to the shortstop Thomas. So let's see, I think Brian just set himself a record there, probably one he won't want to write home to the parents about, but most errors in a tournament by a shortstop, 7. Thomas now has 7. So the leadoff batter on is Larry Babb in the top of the 4th inning. That will bring up J.P. McIver, the first baseman. No outs. As we look around, Jay, we do see the first little trickles of rain starting to come down.
Just a few drops here at Harris Field, and the wind is really whipping up. I noticed that we've educated the baseball crowds here in Lewiston and Clarkston as they brought their monsoon gear out, so everybody's ready to go.
There goes the runner. It's a hit and run as Brock will field a ground ball. No play at second base. Will step on the first base sack, and McIver is a fielder's choice. Out number 1 as he grounds out 3 unassisted, and going to second base is Larry Babb. So a runner at second now with 1 out in the top of the 4th, 1-0 lead for LC.
Trace Jezewski so far through 3 innings has faced 13 batters. He's given up no runs on 3 hits. He's had 2 strikeouts, 1 base on ball, and no earned runs as of yet. So Jezewski, the big gun for the LC Warriors, doing a fine job on the mound right now. 1 gone and a base runner at second.
Phil De La Cruz, the third baseman, flew out to the right fielder Peterson first time up, as Jezewski misses with the pitch and a 1-ball count. For the Warriors, they have 24 extra base hits, 25 now as they had a double earlier in the game. As here's a shot down the right field line that Peterson is over in it, blows foul. So the wind blowing that one foul, and the count will go to a ball and 1 strike.
I'm going to
the batter, De La Cruz.
Disappear here for a second and turn the outside microphone down.
Okay. Yeah, the wind is starting to pick up quite a bit here. as the 1-1 from Chezeski is a fastball. It's up high. And a 2-ball, 1-strike count to Phil De La Cruz. Rich Skeevel scheduled up next, as the Warriors have a 1-0 lead, but there is a runner in scoring position at second base for the Cougars here with 1 out in the top of the 4th. Chezeski from the stretch checks the runner. The pitch to the plate down the right field line once again. Peterson is there, but it will once again drift foul. And the count will go 2 balls and 2 strikes to Phil De La Cruz. Kind of interesting to note here, these two teams in this World Series, both are averaging over 10 runs a game. The Cougars have scored 43 runs in 4 games, and the Warriors have 61 runs in 6 games, but the Warriors have done it with extra base hits, 24 extra base hits, and the Cougars have just 8 extra base hits, 2 home runs, 6 doubles. The Warriors, 11 home runs and 13 doubles, as they have 121 total bases, as the pitch from Chezeski is a curveball outside, a full count now, to the batter Phil De La Cruz. 121 total bases for the Warriors coming into the game. For the Cougars, just 55. So they like to scratch. They hit and run just like they did moments ago as they got the runner to second base. They like to bunt him around as the pitch misses by Chezeski. And with 1 out, there are runners at first and second. So Trace Chezeski working himself into a jam here as Thomas committed an error on the leadoff batter, Babb. He is at second base now, and now a walk to Phil De La Cruz with 1 out in the top of the 4th. And a Rich Skeevel will step to the plate. That is the first walk? Second walk given up as Jerry Marlott walked in the 3rd inning. And De La Cruz now here. The first pitch is a called strike to Rich Skeevel. Skeevel hitting .294 in the World Series with 5 hits. He's 5 for 17. The right fielder will be followed by Jerry Marlott, and in the top of the order here with 1 out. The score 1-0. The Cougars, though, in the top of the 4th have 2 runners on with 1 gone. Here's the pitch once again on the outside corner for strike 2. No balls, 2 strikes now to Rich Skeevel. Jerry Marlott, and in the top of the order for the Warriors, Miltenberger behind the plate. Kyle Brock is off the bag, not holding the runner on first. Hormel in second, Thomas at short, Rusty Harris at third, with Pegram in left, Peterson, Keith in center, and Al Peterson in right. Chezeski is ready to go with the 0-2 pitch to the plate. Misses outside, and 1 ball, 2 strike count to the batter, Rick Skeevel.
The crowd starting up the LC chant here and stomping their feet a bit. Can't decide if they're rooting for the Warriors that hard or if they're maybe doing a non-rain dance out there in the stadium. All the rain gear comes out, umbrellas all over the place, and some rain hats. Everybody brings their slicker to the park tonight.
Just a little sprinkle right now, as we don't have a downpour. Nothing here really threatening the game, as it's just a little sprinkle on top of the people watching the game. As pitch is fouled back, we have a 1-2 count remaining on Rich Skeevel. We do have the winds blowing, kicking up some dust. Looks like we could have a dust storm more than anything here. As we take a look over to our right over here, looks like a little hazy that way. On the batter once again, Rich Skeevel will step back in. Rich flew out to center fielder Peterson in the 2nd inning, 0 for 1. As Chezeski from the stretch, runners at first and second with 1 out. And the pitch to Miltenberger, swung on and missed, strike 3. That's all for Skeevel, out number 2. Strikeout number 3 in the game for Chezeski, and that will bring up Jerry Marlott, the center fielder. Marlott walked and was stranded at third base first time up, and he will face Chezeski now with 2 outs in the top of the 4th inning.
Chezeski coming with that strikeout at a very, very nice time for him. With 1 gone and 2 base runners, a very good time to get a strikeout on one of the Azusa Cougar batters.
Chezeski comes with a fastball. First pitch just misses down low, and Marlott has a 1-ball count. Runner at first and second take the lead. Brock off the bag at first. Thomas creeping over towards the second base bag as Chezeski comes with a strike call. A 1-ball, 1 strike to the number 9 hitter, Jerry Marlott, who walked and was stranded at third in this 3rd inning. We're in the top of the 4th right now. Warriors are the home team here, and they have a 1-0 lead on a home run by Keith Peterson. Chezeski's fastball up high and a 2-ball, 1 strike count. A capacity standing room only crowd watching this ball game from Harris Field, and we do have, yes, people standing.
People out in the left field bleachers that can't find a seat in the grandstands are out there right now.
The 2-ball, 1 strike count, swung on and missed, strike 2. And you can hear that pop Miltenberger's glove clear up here as Chezeski came with the heater, and he now has an even 2-2 count to Jerry Marlott. The outfield is straight away. Keith Peterson has drifted a little over towards center field here as the 2-2 pitch misses inside. And I guess that was a 3-2 pitch. Oh, it says it hit him. Okay, it nicked him on the arm. So Marlott is hit by a pitch, and that will load the bases with 2 outs. So a threat here for the Cougars. The bases are loaded. Top of the fourth inning. The score 1-0. And Trace Jazeski will face the top of the order, Dan Roddy, who had a base hit last time up in the third inning. He grounded out in the first, so he's 1 for 2 in the series, hitting .385. The bases are loaded with Cougars here on the top of the fourth inning, as Jazeski will try to work out of this. Here's the first pitch to Roddy, hit down the first base line. Kyle Brock fields it, as he kind of will have to go to Jazeski now to get the out for out number 3. And the Warriors get out of a bases loaded jam as Roddy grounds out to Kyle Brock. It's a 3-1, out number 3, and the Cougars are gone in the fourth. No runs, no hits, no errors. They leave the bases loaded. And after 3.5 innings of play, the Warriors 1, the Cougars nothing. Thrown 2 pitches to Rick Pegram, both balls, and Rick has a 2-0 count. It's Pegram, Bonfield, and Peterson here in the bottom of the fourth inning, numbers 5, 6, and 7, as Pegram takes it outside. Ball 3-0 to Rick Pegram. Dale Bonfield and Keith Peterson scheduled to the plate in the bottom of the fourth inning. The Warriors 1 run, 3 hits. The Cougars no runs, 3 hits. We're in the bottom of the fourth. The Warriors 1-0. As the right-handed Pegram steps in, the 3-0 is right down the middle for a strike.
Well, the weather conditions not exactly ideal for the championship game, but not bad. Light winds swirling here at Harris Field.
Swain comes with a 3-1 pitch, swung on a miss, strike 2, full count to Rick Pegram as Greg Swain remains on the mound. He has a record of 18-5 on the year. He's a big left-handed pitcher, 6'4", 210 pounds, and he's ready to come to Pegram. The pitch is hit towards the right fielder as Skeevel will come over to the line. It bounces in front of him. Base hit, taking a big turn is Pegram. He will hold it first. As the throw into second base, and the wind could have held that one up as Skeevel looked like he could have had it. All of a sudden stopped. The ball bounced in front of him, and Pegram has a base hit to lead off the fourth.
In a way, I can't help but think that maybe Skeevel didn't think that ball was going to stay fair because he kind of stalled on it a bit. Even Rick Pegram, who rounded first base, kind of looked out there in disbelief into right field as the ball dropped fair. We've got a base runner, no outs. Pegram's on first, and that brings to bat Dale Bonfield.
Dale grounded out to the shortstop first time up, 0 for 1, hitting .286 in the tournament, 4 for 14. As he turns around the bunt, puts a nice one down right in front of the pitcher. He will not have a play at second, goes to first to get Bonfield, but a nice sacrifice by Dale Bonfield as he puts the bunt down in front of the pitcher, and Bonfield with the sacrifice bunt is out 1-3, but that moves Rick Pegram down to second base as the Warriors playing for all the runs they can get here as they have a slim 1-0 lead in the bottom of the fourth. Rick Pegram will go to second on a sacrifice bunt by Dale Bonfield.
Couldn't have laid that bunt down any nicer than he did. He put it about 2 feet out in front of home plate, took a big bounding hop, and Greg Swain fielded it over to the first baseman, J.P. McIver. 1 gone and a base runner on second now.
And at the plate is the batter that has given the Warriors their only run of the ball game, Keith Peterson, who has 2 home runs now in the World Series and is 2 for 6. He's hitting an even .333 now, and he hit a home run to, well, let's see, there was 1 out in the second inning as Dale Bonfield led off with the ground out. Then Keith Peterson hit the home run straight away center. He will step in here with the runner in scoring position at second base and 1 out. Peterson, a right-handed hitter, has a 1 ball count.
Keith Peterson, who has hit 2 home runs so far in the World Series, and coming into this game had only 1 other hit, which was a home run, both of them right over the 400 marker in center field for the Warriors, so he's carrying a big bat this so far in the tournament.
Grounds this one to the third baseman, De La Cruz. Jumps for it. It bounces over his head. Base hit as the shortstop will have to run it down into short left. Pegram will go over to third base. And down to first goes Pegram with his, or as Peterson with his second base hit of the ball game. Keith Peterson now 2 for 2, and that moves Pegram over to third base. And Brian Thomas, the shortstop, will be coming to the plate. Thomas in the World Series hitting .273 with 1 home run. He has 8 RBIs. He grounded out to the second baseman his first time up. So Brian Thomas with a runner in scoring position at third base. Over at first is Keith Peterson. At third is Pegram. And at the plate is Brian Thomas. Greg Swain on the mound. The runner hold on at first. The first pitch to Thomas is down low for a ball. McIver holds the runner Peterson on at first base, while the third baseman De La Cruz even with the bag at third. And last base hit by Peterson bounced over the head of De La Cruz as he was once again playing even with the bag, and the ball hopped over his head for the base hit. Peterson has the lead off first. Swain checks him. Now's a move over as sliding back safely is Peterson.
On that kind of a ground ball base hit right there by Keith Peterson, I noticed that Ed Cheff held the runner Rick Pegram up until he saw what the ball did, and Pegram with a good piece of base running, scooting down to third base.
The left-handed Swain comes to the plate. Thomas checks swing, goes around, and the count to Brian Thomas is a ball and 1 strike. Have a little rain coming down here now as we need some windshield wipers on our press box window here. As we see a few people getting wet, some raindrops coming down. There's Bob Saboto of Lapway coming up to step in front of the press box. And so he seems to be getting a little water on front of him as once again Brian Thomas will step to the plate. The count to Brian is a ball and 1 strike. As Kyle Brock due up next, Swain's pitch is fouled to the screen. And the count goes at a ball, 2 strikes. on Brian Thomas.
One thing a little different than the last time we had a storm here at Harris Field, Wayne, you notice nobody is leaving their seats. Everybody is...
Back in 1984, the best way to archive a baseball game was on a little something we called a cassette. This is where they turned it over, so let's rejoin the game now in the bottom of the fourth.
KOZE. Scoring safely is Pegram. Pegram and an RBI sacrifice for Brian Thomas, as the shortstop Marlott almost didn't make the play, as he had to shoestring it at the last moment, and he was out Thomas, but that's a sacrifice fly. Scoring from third is Rick Pegram, and the Warriors have run number 2 here in the bottom of the fourth inning. Rick Pegram scores from third base on a sacrifice fly by Brian Thomas. So Thomas is an F8, but he gets an RBI and the sacrifice, and there are now 2 outs for the Warriors, and Kyle Brock to the plate with a runner at second.
Pegram with another nifty piece of base running, stood right there on third base. Cheff sort of scalped out the fly ball to make sure, as they make an appeal now to third base, and the umpire says nope.
We've seen several appeals in this World Series, and we have seen none that have been upheld. As here comes head coach Jim Giacomazzi. He wants to have a few words with that umpire on that call, as apparently they do not think that Rick Pegram tagged up at third, but I was watching Pegram on the play as the ball to the center fielder Marlott. You weren't sure if he was going to catch it, but Pegram, as you mentioned, did a good job running the bases, as he stayed right on the base, as he figured even if the guy would have missed it, then he could have scored from there. So he stayed right on the base. The appeal was not upheld, and Jim Giacomazzi had a few words for the umpire as he slowly comes back across the diamond, and the Warriors in the bottom of the fourth have a run. They lead 2-0. 2 runs, 5 hits for LC, no runs, and 3 hits for Azusa Pacific.
When Wayne calls the play-by-play and a fly ball goes out towards center field, yours truly tries to keep an eye on the base runners and see what's going to happen. I had a great eye on Rick Pegram. He was standing right there on the bag. He waited right until the center fielder made the catch, and Pegram doing, like I said, a nifty piece of base running, and I'm not sure why Jim Giacomazzi came out of the box. Maybe something to talk about, or maybe you break for Swain to get a little composure here in the bottom half of the fourth inning.
Swain has given up only 6 runs in this World Series. He's given up 2 to the Warriors, and we're in the bottom of the fourth with 2 outs. Stepping to the plate is Kyle Brock. The count to Kyle Brock is now 1 ball, no strikes. Rain coming down a little harder now. Wind has died down a little, but we do have a little more rain now. Swain is ready on the mound. He comes to Brock. The pitch is down low. The catcher Franco keeps it in front of him. And the count goes to 2 balls, no strikes on Kyle Brock. Top of the order with the Rusty Harris due up next.
As far as rain delays go here in the championship game, we were just talking about it in between the innings here. They probably will not call this game till 4 o'clock in the morning unless it's an absolute total 100% downpour.
2 balls, no strikes. Brock steps back in, runner to second, and fouls the pitch off down the right field side to count 2 balls and a strike. Well, it would take a lot of rain to flood the field here at Harris Field. If it just continued to rain like this, I believe they could play the game right on through, as the field is very dry here at Harris Field. The wind has dried it off, and it would take a lot to make the field wet enough that they would make it sloppily out there. As the field right now in excellent condition with the count 2 balls and 1 strike. Brock steps back in and fouls the pitch high into the air. McIver will give chase, but it will drop foul into the right field foul area, and the count goes even at 2 balls, 2 strikes on Kyle Brock. Yesterday, it's kind of interesting to note, when it was rain most of the night and in the morning, the field was not covered here until about noontime, as they said the field just too dry and they needed a little bit of moisture on it. So it would take a lot to rain this ball game out. As the count goes even, 2-2, as Brock steps back in and sends it high into the air. Right fielder Skeevel comes over. Now the center fielder Marlott calls him off, and Skeevel finally makes the catch out in right for out number 3. So Kyle Brock is an F9, 3 gone for the Warriors in the bottom of the 4th inning, but they pick up 1 run on 2 hits. They leave a man on base, and after 4 complete, it's the Warriors 2 and the Cougars nothing.
Top half of the 5th inning here at Harris Field. So far, the downfall for the Azusa Pacific Cougars would have to be the fact that they've left 7 people on base through 4 innings of play, and that may be the downfall right now, as the LCSC Warriors are leading in this game 2-0, and Wayne Allen's got the play for you.
Chizeski, first pitch to Leland Franco, is hit high into the air for the center fielder. Now the right fielder, Al Peterson, will come over, and he'll make the catch out number 1. First pitch, and 1 out for Chizeski in the top of the 5th. Leland Franco is an F9. A lot of flyouts to Al Peterson in right field here in this ball game. First out of the inning, and Joe Grayston, a shortstop, will come to the plate. I mentioned a little bit earlier, we're going to have to get some windshield wipers out here in our window, and the rain continuing to come down here, and makes it a little bit hard to see.
Number 25,
especially when the guys come and stand right in front of us out here trying to shelter themselves from the rain.
Is it the rain, or is it the fans that's causing us the problems right now?
Grayston will step back in, the shortstop, as he is 0 for 2 tonight, hitting .384 in the World Series, and Chezeski comes to the plate. Fastball misses inside.
Well, I see the skipper has called it a night. The
AV guy says, I'm never coming back to a World Series. Pitch is fouled out into the parking lot for a 1-1 count. Well, we've kind of had fun with the AV guys here throughout the World Series, as they have really got to hand it to them. They've been quite courageous out there on the scaffolding that's set up about 40 feet in the air behind the grandstand area. As they stood right there, they made her through the storm the other night, the fierce storm that hit Tuesday night, and they didn't budge. They stood there and watched their scaffolding blow back and forth, watched their top blow off, and then the other night the guy almost got hit in the head with a foul ball. And here tonight it's raining and windy again. They're going to call it quits and bring the equipment in. The pitch is a called strike 2, as Grayston has a count of 1-2 strikes. It's Joe Grayston, Rob Amble, and Larry Babb here in the top half of the 5th inning. The Warriors with 2 runs on 5 hits. The Cougars, that's no runs on 3 hits. Jazeski doing a good job on the mound for the Warriors. Same defense, the outfield straightaway, as the 1-2 pitch is outside. Fastball, and the count goes even, 2 strikes. The Warriors have Chad Nottenberger behind the plate. NAIA All-American catcher Kyle Brock at first, Scott Hormel at second, Brian Thomas at short, Rusty Harris at third, Rick Pegram is in left, Keith Peterson in center, and the NAIA All-America outfielder Alan Peterson is in right. Trace Chezeski, NAIA All-America second-team pitcher, is on the mound.
They're appealing right now the count. The home plate umpire, C.J. Mitchell, says it's 2-1 strike, and the pitcher, Trace Chezeski, comes to the mound now, and he is complaining that he fouled off another one of the balls, and it should be 2-2 strikes, and there's something you don't see very often. Trace wins the argument, and the count is 2-2.
Well, C.J. Mitchell finally signaled out, yes, the count was 2-2. Ed Cheff was on his way out of the Warrior third base dugout, but they get the count straightened around. It is a 2-2 strike count, as Chezeski delivers the curveball outside, and a full count now to Joe Grayson. 1 out in the top of the 5th inning. Lewis Clark State leading 2-0 here in the championship game of the 1984 NAIA World Series. The Warriors have finished twice the last 2 years in second place. As the pitch is fouled back to the screen, also in 1976, they finished twice. They have finished third a couple of other times. And they want the big trophy this year, as they're playing before a home crowd of over, well, I'd say, we'll have to give our crowd estimates here pretty soon, but 43, 42 would be my estimate tonight, as capacity is 4,300, and I think there are about 42 people standing down there. As the full count pitch hit on the ground slowly towards Hormel, ranges to the left, makes the play, and over the puck for out number 2. Grayson is a 4-3. 2 outs, top of the 5th for Rob Amble, the NAIA Player of the Year. Rob Amble, 1 for 2, hitting .364 in the World Series. Once again, the LC chant, led by Bill Neary and Fred Willett. All kinds of Warrior supporters here at Harris Field.
A regular old set of cheerleaders down here in front of the grandstands as they lead the cheers and sell the peanuts. It's obviously a dual job for some of these people tonight.
In the top of the 5th, there are 2 outs for the Cougars, and the first strike pitch to Rob Amble, left-handed hitting left fielder. 1 for 2 in the ballgame, .364 in the World Series.
Wayne, I'm going to say 44-10 for a crowd estimate. I'm going to say there's 110 people meandering around out here.
Next pitch is fouled back out of play on the left side, so you say 44-10, I say 43-42. And Rod?
Rod Gehring, what do you say, crowd-wise? 45.
4,500. And the winner will get a free Pepsi.
Either that or we get to go again here. It sounds like round 2 of The Price is Right or something.
No balls, 2 strikes, and Amble takes the fastball out high for a ball, and it's a ball 2. Strikes to Rob Amble. Larry Babb and then J.P. McIver to come to the plate in the top of the 5th inning. 2 outs as Chezeski has sent the first 2 down in order. This is a check swing into the shortstop Thomas. He charges. The ball bounces over his head. And let's see what they roll that one. Probably a hit as Thomas charged the ball and then took a big hop over his head. And still no flash on the scoreboard as we await. And down at first base will be Rob Amble with 2 outs in the top of the 5th. And it is a hit given to Rob Amble. So charge Amble, give Amble the base hit down at first. Base hit number 4 in the game for the Cougars, and that will bring up Larry Babb. The Cougars like to scratch and paw for their runs. They steal base, they hit and run, they bunt. The Warriors like to go for the big runs all at one time. They go for the home runs. They have 12 of them here in this World Series, which I think is a record. The record was 11, and that was set by the Warriors last year, 1983. A swing and a miss for strike 1 by Larry Babb. So they now have broken their old record for most home runs in a World Series as Keith Peterson hit number 12, and For the Cougars, they have just 2 home runs here in the World Series, so quite a difference. The Warriors with the power, the Cougars like to scratch and paw. With a runner at first, here's a fly ball that Peterson will chase down in right field, but it will drift out of play. As we can see the ball, that's the way the wind is blowing from center to right. Several balls have been blown from the right center field power alley over to the right fielder, Peterson. As that time he gave chase, but the ball blows foul. And to Amble now, the count, no balls, 2 strikes. Or make it Larry Babb. And Babb will have to go over and dry off the bat and come back to the plate.
Babb's a 200-pound, 6'3" target at the plate. He's a junior from Covina, California. And he stands in against Trace Chizevsky, the pitching ace for the LCSC Warriors, with the count, no balls and 2 strikes and 2 gone here in the top half of the 5th.
Larry Babb will step back in, 2 outs. Larry Babb and then Franco also in the lineup here for Azusa Pacific as the pitch is up high to Babb and the count goes of all 2 strikes. Kind of reminds me of my good friend Larry Babineau, who works at Franco's up in the Clarkson Heights. He's probably over there working his away right now and has the radio turned up real loud. So Larry Babb steps back in. The count to him is a ball, 2 strikes. Say there's a new concoction, Jay, behind home plate. The 1-2 fouled back to the parking lot, and the count goes to 1 ball, 2 strikes.
What is that? That's
well, the guy is selling cushions, but he's showing the fans here, look, here's a new way to wear the cushions. He's got it on top of his head. So he's selling the seat cushions here at the World Series. He's selling them as rain bonnets.
He must have an abundance of seat cushions, and he's got a NAIA World Series seat cushion on his head.
Count is 1 ball, 2 strikes now. Swinging miss, strike 3. And that's all for the Cougars in the bottom of the 5th. No runs on a hit. They leave a man on base. And after 4.5 innings, the Warriors continue to lead 2-0. Up of the order, it'll be Rusty Harris, Scott Hormel, and Chad Miltenberger to face Greg Swain and the Cougars from Azusa Pacific. Both of these teams from Area 1. The Cougars are the area champions. The Warriors did not compete in the area playoffs this year as they are the host team for this World Series. For the 3rd year in a row, the Warriors are in the finals. They're looking for that first place trophy this year as Harris hits the first pitch high into the air. Second baseman drifting over. Roddy, now the first baseman McIver, calls him off and makes the catch. So Harris in the last 2 trips up to the plate has went after the first pitch, and he has grounded out and now flown out to the 3rd baseman. First out, bottom of the 5th, and Scott Hormel to the plate. It's been a quick moving game here, Jay. Bottom of the 5th, we're an hour and 14 minutes into this championship ball game from Harris Field.
Notice that a few of the not-so weather-worthy fans have started to exit out towards the parking lot, but everybody else seems to be staying put as this big crowd of 4,400 or plus stands in here in the rainy conditions at Harris Field.
Several umbrellas up. We see down right in front of us here a big plastic tarp that's covering up about 10 people. And the infield now, as we take a look at it out there, is starting to show signs of being wet, as it looks like they just kind of rinsed it off after they go out and they put the water on it between games. Looks like that about right now in the bottom of the 5th. So we could go a couple of more innings, I think, with no problem to the field. As the batters are having a little trouble at the plate, Hormel now will walk over to the dugout and wipe his bat off. Not only the bat, but his forehead and helmet, as apparently the water dripping down off his helmet. But just got ready to step back in now. The count 2 balls and no strikes from Greg Swain. Swain's 2-0 pitch hits the outside corner for a strike. As Swain, a 6'4", 210-pound senior, 18-5 on the year. 2-1 pitch. Hormel, the right-hander, steps back in, faked the bunt, pulls it back, and the pitch is outside for a ball. 2 balls, 2 strikes, the count even to Scott Hormel.
If nothing else, we've educated the baseball fans here at Harris Field as they have brought out the monsoon gear by the iodes here tonight.
Umpire changed the count 3-1 as Hormel steps in, takes a look at the pitch. It's a call strike on the outside corner, breaking pitch from Swain, and a full count now to Scott Hormel. Chad Miltenberger, Al Peterson to follow here in the bottom of the 5th inning. 1 out, Warriors holding on to a 2-0 lead underneath some rain here at Harris Field. The wind, though, has died down, Jay, so we have rain now instead of wind. As Swain's pitch is fouled down to the first base dugout and calls for a 3-2 pitch once again from the pitcher, Greg Swain.
So now the batters seem to be having a little bit of problems here, as I noticed Azusa was doing this in the bottom half of the 4th inning, and now the LC batters all wiping their bats off and their helmets off, and so the rain is continuing to come down. Wind's died down. Not that bad of conditions yet.
Full count pitch. Hormel hits it towards right field. Skeevel will come in, won't get to it. Pegram, or make that Hormel has his base hit down the right field line. His first hit of the ball game. Hormel hitting .293 in the World Series, has the 6th Warrior hit. As with 1 out, top at the bottom of the 5th, that will bring up Chad Miltenberger. So the Warriors have another runner on here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Chad Miltenberger and Al Peterson, the 2 Ribby Mans, will come to the plate here in the bottom of the 5th.
Number 24.
Chad walked last time up and into a fielder's choice first time, so he's 0 for 1, hitting .429 in the World Series, 5 doubles, 2 home runs, 8 RBIs. As big left-handed hitting catcher from Clarkston steps in, swings at the first pitch, sends a grounder to Dan Roddy. He'll go to second base, out number 1, and back to first. No, not in time as Miltonberger beats the throw down the first base line. Another fielder's choice for Chad. He'll be at first. Eliminated at second base. On the fielder's choice is Scott Hormel for out number 2.
Runner at first base for the Warriors.
Chad Miltonberger, who is not exactly what you would call a quick runner, made a fast move down to first base. He is 5 feet 10, 180 pounds, replaced by Fred Quintero, who is the courtesy runner for Miltonberger. But Miltonberger making a good run down there, and he stays on base with the fielder's choice. 2 gone here in the bottom half of the 5th inning.
Al Peterson, hitting right-handed, will step in, 1 for 2. In the World Series, hitting an even .400 with Quintero, the runner at first. Peterson hits the first ball hard and high, but will be fouled down the right field line. Al Peterson with 2 doubles, 3 home runs. 1 more, he would tie a World Series record in home runs, as he has 9 RBIs and has scored 13 runs. So with the rain continuing to come down, coming down a little bit harder now, as we take a look out into the parking lot, we could have a drizzle like this throughout the rest of the game. As the field's still in good playing condition, we have the field is now starting to soak up a little water, but the batters at the plate as Peterson swings and misses. The count goes no balls, 2 strikes. Al wanted a timeout there as the pitcher started delivery, reached back with his hand, but the umpire, C.J. Mitchell, not calling the timeout. Peterson steps back out. He's going to have to towel and wipe off his bat. That seems to be the biggest trouble right here, is for the batters, keeping the bat dry and also their helmets. As Peterson wanted a timeout, and Ed Cheff comes down to talk to the home plate umpire, C.J. Mitchell. As Peterson was stepping in there, apparently the rain started coming down off his helmet. He reached back with his right hand to signal the umpire, but the umpire not calling the timeout. The pitch to the plate, Peterson swung and missed, and he has no 2 count now. 2 outs, bottom of the 5th inning. Warriors 2, Cougars nothing. Championship game, 1984 NAIA World Series. Swain, the pitch to Peterson is fouled. Couple of Warriors there. Kyle Brock leading the charge out of the dugout to field the ball. Kyle had a nice play out of the dugout the other night.
Came out and barehanded it, if I'm not mistaken, there on that foul tip to the right-hand side.
That's a Warrior trademark under head coach Ed Cheff. They're all alert at the... Used to be they all stood up in front of the dugout through the first few innings of the game. And now they're always alert right at the edge of their seats there. As the count, no balls, 2 strikes. Once again, Peterson steps in, sends a high fly ball foul down the right field side. And count will remain, no balls, 2 strikes to Al Peterson. Leyland Franco doing the catching here for the Cougars, with J.P. McIver at first, Dan Roddy at second, Joe Grayson at shortstop, and Phil De La Cruz at third. It's Rob Amble, Jerry Marlott, and Rich Skeevel here in the outfield. As once again Peterson has to dry the bat off. We see the third baseman De La Cruz now coming over to wipe the mud off his cleat on the grass part of the infield, now back to his third base spot. So it is getting a little slippery out here in the championship game of the World Series. Fastball is inside to Peterson, and now has a 1-ball, 2-strike count.
So Al Peterson, who stands in at the plate, only needs to get 1 more home run to have the most home runs ever in a World Series tournament. And he's got several other stats. Most runs scored in a tournament, he has 13.
Quintero, the runner at first, has the lead. Swain to the plate, misses outside, and the count goes 2 balls, 2 strikes. And once again, Peterson will make his way back over to the on-deck batter, Rick Pegram, and pick up the towel and wipe off the bat. So we'll have to wait and see what the tournament officials and the umpires all decide to do here as the rain comes down, but we are in the championship game of the NAIA World Series in the bottom of the 5th inning. As Swain once again checks Quintero. The pitch hit right back up the middle. Base hit for Al Peterson as Quintero will go to second base, and the Warriors have 2 runners on in the bottom of the 5th. Peterson has his second base hit as he just reached out and slapped it up the middle, and the runner at first is Peterson. Going to second is the runner for Chad Miltonberger, Fred Quintero. So 2 outs, bottom of the 5th, 2 runners on for Rick Pegram. Had a base hit and scored Warrior run number 2 in the 4th inning. He's 1 for 2 in the game, hitting .458 in the World Series.
Well, the rain must be coming down a little bit harder. C.J. Mitchell now moves out to talk to his umpires. And that ball, base hit by Al Peterson, went scooting right up the middle as it hit the outfield grass. I noticed it looked a little bit like a hydroplane as it sort of squirted water up in the rooster tail fashion as it moved out towards the center fielder, Jerry Marlott. So the rain is coming down here at Harris Field, but 2 runners on in the bottom of the 5th.
Here's a base hit into right field as Hormel goes after the first pitch. Coming around third is Fred Quintero. He's heading for the plate. The throw to the catcher is not in time. Safe is Quintero at home as the base hit to right field by Rick Pegram, his second hit of the ball game. 2 RBIs. And scoring from second base is the courtesy runner Fred Quintero, and the Warriors have a 3-0 lead in the bottom of the 5th inning.
The throw was not cut off from the right fielder, Rich Skeevel, and I'm not really sure that I'm not positive why the catcher didn't make a play at home plate. He fielded the ball and then checked the base runners to see what was going on. Quintero went sliding into home plate, and it looks as though right now we're going to have a rain delay. They're calling everybody in. They're bringing out the truck with the tarps on it, and I think we're going to stop play right now here in the bottom of the fifth.
They have brought out the tarps. They're going to cover the field. Let's see what they're going to announce. They have an announcement here. Well, they're going to have the 50-50 draw before they go off the air. Well, we're going to bring it back to you, Mike, and then you listen to us as we are right now in the bottom of the fifth inning. LC has gone on top by a score of 3-0. They have 3 runs on 8 hits. For the Cougars, no runs on 4 hits, and they are going to stop the game momentarily. They're going to have the tarps out, and we will take a rain delay. We'll be back with more baseball when the weather permits from Harris Field. The score, 3-0, bottom of the fifth. It's the Warriors leading in the NAIA Championship ballgame from Harris Field. We had the rain delay. That was exactly 2 hours ago. As we check our watch, it's 10:23, and after the 2-hour rain delay, we're ready to go from Harris Field. The score is 3-0 in favor of the Lewis Clark State Warriors, as this is the championship game of the 1984 NAIA World Series, and coming to the plate for the Warriors will be Dale Bonfield. So all you people, if you're still out in the cars, come on back. And Jay, we still have a good, brave crowd here as the grandstand area once again filled. We have a lively crowd, a little livelier than we were when we went away. 2-hour break. And some of the fans using that to go to their favorite watering holes and hang out. And they have come back good and lively here for the conclusion of this championship ball game from Harris Field.
Crowd probably right at about 2,500 people right now. A lot of people as Wayne said, went out to their cars and also to their favorite pub ski and had themselves a little liquid refreshment here during the mid-game break, I guess you could call it.
A long halftime here in the bottom of the fifth inning, and Dale Bonfield takes the first pitch for a ball. So it's Bonfield, Peterson, and Thomas as we resume play after a 2-hour rain delay in the NAIA Championship ball game from Harris Field. The runner at first is Pegram as Bonfield steps back in and takes a call strike. So Bonfield has a 1-1 count.
Can't say enough about Red Pafil and the grounds crew here at Harris Field. They've done an immaculate job. The field is in excellent condition right now as we resume this game after 2 hours of sitting around and digressing who's going to win.
Greg Swain remains on the mound as Bonfield hits this pitch deep into left field. The left fielder coming in, Amble won't get to it. That's a base hit. 1-run scores. Here comes Bonfield to second base, sliding in safe. 1 run scores and runners at second and third. Rick Pegram goes to third base. Peterson scores. And Dale Bonfield has a base hit and an RBI.
Dale Bonfield just lined a rope out into left center field. Rob Amble came in on the slide out there in the wet outfield and grabbed the ball. It brought Pegram in brought Peterson in from third base, and Pegram moves over to third now. Dale Bonfield's on second base with a double, and we've got another run here in the bottom of the fifth inning for the Warriors, now leading the game 4-0.
4 hits for the Warriors in the bottom of the fifth inning. Keith Peterson up, 2 runners in scoring position, takes the first pitch for a strike. Keith Peterson had a single in the fourth inning. He had a home run for the first Warrior run in the second. So Peterson with a count, 1 strike. Greg Swain remains on the mound here, big left-hander, as he will come to the plate. The pitch is fouled down the right field side, or the left field side by Peterson. And we have a nice play out of the dugout by a Warrior. And I didn't catch which one that was, but he gets a good hand from the crowd. The crowd is going to be lively here, Jay, for the final 4 innings of play, as they have been waiting for this championship game to get back underway. Many of them sitting through the rain delay, not in the stands, in their cars, underneath the bleachers. And we did have a few brave souls that did stick right in the grandstands during that rain delay. They had a little tarp over them, and they seemed to stay dry and happy, I guess. As we're ready to go, the pitch is fouled back by Peterson once again, and Keith Peterson will have a no-ball, 2-strike count.
The unpredictability of the weather here the past week at Harris Field for the World Series has done one thing, and that's educate the baseball fans, as they brought out everything they could think of to keep themselves dry, and that included, I noticed a few people were sitting in garbage sacks here and tying themselves into it. It's a wonder they didn't suffocate out here.
Well, we had 12 people under one piece of plastic down there. As a pitch, Peterson is inside, and Keith Peterson has a 1-ball, 2-strike count. Bottom of the fifth inning, after a 2-hour rain delay, the Warriors come back. The first batter up, Dale Bonfield, has an RBI single, and the Warriors have a 4-0 lead as they are working up against Greg Swain. Swain had given up only 6 runs in 2 World Series games, 5 earned runs, and the Warriors have 4 here through the first 5. Swain is ready to come to Peterson. The pitch hits him, and he'll go down to first base. So Peterson hangs right in there, lets the curveball hit him on the wrist. And hit by the pitch is Keith Peterson. He'll go to first. Bonfield will move to second. Over at third is Rick Pegram, and the Warriors have the bases loaded in the bottom of the fifth inning for Brian Thomas, the shortstop.
So here comes Brian Thomas, who so far has grounded out back in the second inning. He flew out to the center fielder in the fourth inning. It's his third plate appearance as the Warriors bring to bat the bottom of the order here in the bottom of the fifth inning, leading the game right now 4-0.
Thomas 0 for 1 in the ball game. Takes the first pitch down the third base line. Fair ball. 1 run will score. Cheff is waving the second runner out second. Here he comes to the plate. The throw won't be in time. It'll go to second base. 2 Warriors in, and the Warriors have a 6-0 lead. The throw from the outfield is cut off at the shortstop, and 2 runs score on a base hit. 2 RBIs by Brian Thomas. So score from second base, Dale Bonfield. From third base, Rick Pegram. And the rain delay so far to the effect of the Warriors, as they now have 1, 2, 3, 4 runs in here in the bottom of the fifth inning.
Well, you can't help but think that Ed Cheff took his Warriors into the gymnasium here on the campus of LCSC and definitely sat down with them and said, look, you've got a lead so far. We got a great scoring opportunity left here in the bottom of the fifth inning. We're going to get the game back out on the field. He knew that if Red Pafiel was going to work on the infield, they'd play baseball, whether it be at 10 o'clock or 2 o'clock. And right now, Jim Giacomazzi moves to the mound to have a talk with Greg Swain as the Warriors have now taken a commanding 6-0 lead over the Azusa Pacific Cougars.
So Swain, since coming back from the rain delay, has given up a base hit to Dale Bonfield. He hit Keith Peterson and a base hit to Brian Thomas. 3 RBIs here. Bonfield had 1, 2 for Thomas. And once again, with 2 outs, the Warriors with 2 runners in scoring position at second and third base. 2 outs. Warriors now 6 runs on 10 hits. Swain is ready to come to the plate. A high fly ball hit straight away by Kyle Brock, sending Marlott back to the warning track and back in. He takes it for out number 3. So Brock brings the crowd to their feet, but it's a long fly ball out to end the fifth inning. For the Warriors, after a 2-hour fifth inning of play, they pick up 4 runs on 5 hits. They leave 2 men on base, and after 5 complete in the championship game, they lead 6-0. The Warriors, as of yet, because in the bottom of the fifth, they come up with 4 runs on 5 hits. And after the rain delay, they scored 3 runs on 2 hits. They had a hit batter. So the Warriors doing the job after the rain delay. They kept their mind right on the ball game, and they come out. They have a 6-0 lead now as we'll move on to the top of the 6th inning, and Trace Chizewski will work out on the mound as he will try to loosen that arm up after this long rain delay of 2 hours. Trace Chizewski will face number 6, 7, and 8 in the lineup for the Azusa Pacific Cougars. It will be J.P. McIver, Phil De La Cruz, and then Rick Skeevel to come to the plate. As Trace Chizewski has completed the warm-up tosses, Milton Berger down to Hormel at second. Thomas, Harris, and Brock round out the infield with Pegram, Keith Peterson, and Al Peterson in the outfielder. 6-0 lead for the Warriors as we move to the top half of the 6th inning. This ball game delayed 2 hours from 8:25 to 10:25, rain delay, and we are ready to go. That was in the bottom of the 5th. We move to the top of the 6th inning for J.P. McIver, hitting .294 in the tournament. He's 0 for 2 in this ball game.
J.P. McIver coming to the plate as the first pitch is way inside for a ball. McIver is a 5'8", 160-pound senior, and he hails from the Northwest as he's out of Seattle, Washington, facing Trace Chizewski on the mound for the Warriors.
Chizewski comes with a 1-0 pitch lined into center field as Keith Peterson will go over on the run, cut the ball off. This is a base hit to lead off the top of the 6th for J.P. McIver. Base hit McIver at first base, leading off the top of the 6th for the Azusa Pacific Cougars. That's the 5th hit for Azusa Pacific. The Warriors have 10 hits. They've scored 6 runs through 5 innings.
So now Chizewski, through 5 innings in the 2-hour rain delay, has faced 23 batters. He's pitched 85 pitches. He's given up 2 base on balls, had 4 strikeouts, and now has given up 5 hits with no runs so far. And comes out here, and it's got to be tough, I would imagine, on the pitchers to wait that long, 2 hours, and tighten up a bit, I would imagine, during that rain delay.
Well, watch Chizewski here as the runoff first. Pitch is fouled to the screen by De La Cruz, and a 1-strike count to Phil De La Cruz, a third baseman. In this ballgame, 0 for 1. He's hitting .165 in World Series, just 2 hits and 13 trips to the plate. Runner at first is McIver, who had the base hit. As Chizewski comes to the plate, ball hit on the ground. Second baseman Hormel dives to his left, makes the stop, and goes over to first baseman Brock. Nice play at second base by Scott Hormel. De La Cruz is gone 4-3 for the first out. Going to second base is J.P. McIver. So Hormel chases the ball down in the hole to his left, throws the runner out, 1 out, as we move now to Rick Skeevel. Skeevel, the right fielder, hitting .294 in the World Series, 5 for 17, and he's 0 for 2 in this ballgame. Struck out last time up and flied out to the right fielder his first trip. Runner at second now in scoring position for the Cougars as Chizewski from the stretch comes with a fastball that misses outside.
That first out, fielded by Scott Hormel, says a lot for what the grounds crew did in here, because Hormel needed to get a quick jump on that ground ball. He did so on the first out here in the top of the 6th inning.
Krzyzewski checks with Miltenberger, looks at the runner at second, dancing off the base, and the pitch down low for a ball, and the count goes 2 balls, no strikes. Well, what the ground crew did during the break, first the tarp was on, they let the tarp go, and then after about, a half hour or 45 minutes of rain, they came out, they poured some Diamond Dry on the infield and put the tarps back on. Let it sit for about another half hour. The 2-0 pitch is fouled back. We have a 2-1 count now to Rick Skeevel. So then after that, the rain did die out quite a bit, and then by the time the half hour had been up, they came out. The rain was pretty much done. They lifted the tarps off, and with the dry diamond, which is a corn cob chemical substance which really dries up the dirt, they poured that all over the infield, then they drug it with their 3-wheeler, and the field, if you look at it, doesn't look wet at all. Down the first base line, they have the dry diamond poured, which will not affect play at all, but the field is completely dry. 2 balls, 2 strikes. As McIver steps back in, sends a slow roller behind the pitcher's mound. Thomas over behind the sack, takes the throw over first in time. Nice play by the shortstop, Brian Thomas, as J.P. McIver scoots over to third base, but the out is 6-3, out number 2 in the top of the 6th inning. Now was a slow bounder, and Thomas really had to come hard from shortstop to make the play. That's out number 2, and the number 9 hitter, Jerry Marlott, will come up, the center fielder. He is walked and was hit by a pitch, so he has no official trips to the plate today. He's 4 for 13 in the tournament, hitting .308. From the stretch, Krzyzewski will fire to the plate. The pitch misses outside. Jerry Marlott at the plate, the number 9 hitter, and then the top of the order with Dan Roddy. As Krzyzewski will work from the stretch with 2 outs and a runner at third. Jerry Marlott, right-handed hitter, steps back in. Fastball down the middle, a little low by Trace Krzyzewski. And the count goes 2 balls, no strikes.
Looking on the side streets here outside of Harris Field, still cars are arriving as though the game had just begun. A lot of fans still making their way out to the ballpark as we're just in the top of the 6th.
2-0 pitch right down the middle for a strike. 2 balls and a strike now to the batter, Jerry Marlott. World Series Championship Baseball this evening on 4K Sports. Glad to have you along. This is Wayne Allen along with Jay McCall and Rod Gehring. As Krzyzewski comes with a curve on the 2-1, it's up high for a 3-ball, 1-strike count. Well, game is now 3 hours and 35 minutes old, Jay. And
long baseball game so far.
We're in the top of the 6th. That's Krzyzewski's fastball right down the middle. And a full count now to Marlott. 2 outs with a runner at third base. McIver had a base hit, and he is now over at third. The outfield straightaway. Harris behind the bag at third. Brock well off the bag at first. As once again, the Warrior clap goes through the crowd. The 3-2 beans Marlott on top of the head. Marlott had a few words for the pitcher, Brock, and for the pitcher, Krzyzewski, and Krzyzewski kind of motioning to him to come on. But Marlott now stops halfway down and will rub the back of his head, as I believe he was stung a little worse than he thought he was at first. Miltenberger was right out there to make sure nothing too bad happened as he followed the runner Marlott right behind him. He wasn't going to let him take off for his pitcher, Krzyzewski, as Miltenberger there for the security. And going to first base will be the center fielder, Jerry Marlott. So runners will be on the corners with 2 outs in the top of the 6th for Azusa Pacific.
Well, I can't help but think that on the mound, Trace Krzyzewski probably a little bit tight after that 2 hour and 2 minute delay. So he came off the mound there and was motioning the runner to come over, and maybe they'd talk about it a little bit. 180-pound Chad Miltenberger walked down the line and said, "I'll do a little talking too." So didn't look like there was going to be much of a discussion with Chad moving down the first base line.
2 outs now with runners at first and third. Krzyzewski will work from the stretch with Marlott hit by a pitch on at first. A base hit for McIver as he's up there. There goes the runner. Miltenberger fakes the throw down, and there will be 2 runners in scoring position now. A stolen base for Marlott. Has no attempt to throw him out with the runner at third base. So 2 runners in scoring position now with 2 gone in the top of the 6th inning. Krzyzewski working on the mound. He started the ball game. He's gone the distance. Given up 5 hits so far. As the pitch hit to the second baseman, Hormel stays right down on it. And the 1-hopper over to Brock at first, and that's it. The Cougars are gone into 6th. No runs on a hit. They leave 2 men on, and after 5.5, it's the Warriors 6, the Cougars nothing.
Rain delay started at 8:25 Pacific Daylight Time, and it lasted until 10:25. And a delay started after Pegram's base hit in the 5th inning, and right after they came back to bat, the Warriors scored 3 more runs, and it looks as though we've got a good baseball on hand here at 20 minutes to 11 o'clock, and we've got baseball from Harris Field. Wayne Allen's got the calls for you here in the bottom half of the 6th.
Rusty Harris is going to step in here in the bottom of the 6th for the Warriors. Takes the first pitch outside. We got a little baseball spectator here that's been here throughout the rain delay. Shane Allen Grubb, little 5-year-old watching tonight. What about this ball game? You like the way the Warriors are playing out there?
Yeah.
What about all that rain? You glad it stopped raining?
Yeah.
Think the Warriors are going to win this ball game, win the big trophy this year?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you, Shane. Shane's been getting pop for us and popcorn and making all kinds of trips up here to the press box for us tonight, as Harris has an 0-ball, 2-strike count. Leading off the bottom of the 6th for the Warriors, followed by Scott Hormel and Chad Miltenberger. As Greg Swain on the mound, the pitch to Harris is popped up down the first base side. As the first baseman over McIver tries to make the catch, and the ball goes out of play. So the count to Harris will be no balls and 2 strikes. Greg Swain on the mound, 18-5 on the year. In the 14 innings coming into this ball game, he had given up 12 hits and 6 runs. And here through the first 5 innings, he has given up 10 hits and 6 runs to the Warriors. As Leland Franco, the catcher behind the plate, signals the pitch to Swain, and Greg Swain is ready to work to the plate, and a Rusty Harris. With a count, no balls, 2 strikes. A slow curveball that Harris reaches out, taps to the first baseman McIver, and McIver will run over to the base for out number 1, as Harris has gone 3 unassisted for the first out of the bottom of the 6th. Now we'll bring up Scott Hormel, the second baseman.
Scott Hormel.
In this ball game, Hormel 1 for 3 as he had the base hit last time up in the 5th inning, hitting .292 in this World Series, 3 RBIs and 7 runs scored.
Scott Hormel coming into this game had 7 runs scored, so he was one of the leading run scorers behind Peterson, Koss of Southwestern, Wellman of Southwestern, and Hormel sitting in the 4th position right now for runs scored, and that's a total of 7.
Swain is ready to work to the plate. The pitch to Hormel is fouled to the screen, and a 1-ball, 1-strike count to Scott Hormel. Chad Miltenberger due up next, and then Al Peterson in the bottom half of the 6th. The Warriors, 6 runs, 10 hits. The Cougars have been shut out by Trace Jazeski on 5 hits. 1 ball, 1 strike to Hormel. The pitch is inside, and it goes 2 balls and a strike.
Looking back to the 5th inning for the LCSC Warriors, too, they batted completely through the order as Harris was the first out, and Kyle Brock, the 9th hitter in the lineup, was the 3rd out, and they scored 4 runs in between there with 2 outs.
2-1 pitch down low. Hormel looks at it for a 3-ball, 1-strike count. Swain on the mound, working to his catcher, Franco. McIver at first, Roddy at second, Grayston at shortstop, De La Cruz at 3rd. As the pitch is right down the middle, a call, strike 2, and a full count now to Scott Hormel. Rob Amble in left, Jerry Marlott in center, and Rick Skeevel in right field. The crowd that has returned after the rain delay, still a good-sized crowd, about 2,500 people, I would estimate here. A slow chopper on a check swing down the first baseline. McIver will have to field it. Tags out the runner, Hormel, going down the line. And out number 2 is Hormel, 3 unassisted. So first baseman McIver getting the first 2 outs unassisted, as that was a slow roller that he had to field and go quickly over and tag the runner, Hormel, coming down the line for out number 2. I'll ring up Chad Miltenberger, the catcher. Miltenberger's runner, Keith Peterson, scored a run in the 5th inning, as Chad hit into a fielder's choice, 2 of them tonight, and he walked, so he's 0 for 2. In the tournament, hitting .429, 5 doubles, 2 home runs, and 8 RBIs. First pitch to him, down low, and a ball to Chad Miltenberger. World Series Championship Baseball on 4K Sports this evening for Abby's Pizza, family-owned and operated at 1281 Bridge Street in Clarkston. It's Abby's Pizza as Miltenberger checks the swing, and they say he went around, so the call strike, and Miltenberger has an even 1-1 count at the plate.
Wayne, I was taking a peek out here, and the video crew's moving their stuff again. I couldn't figure out why, and the reason is, if you can believe it, it started raining again here at Harris Field.
Well, it must be just a little drizzle here. As I look up on our window at one time was completely covered with raindrops, and now it's dry. As Miltenberger takes another strike, to count to Chad now, a ball, 2 strikes. As the fastball from Swain down low, Greg thought he had a strike on that one. He was headed for the dugout. But the call is a ball and an even 2-2 count now to Chad Miltenberger. The outfield once again swung way over to the right for the center fielder, Marlott. They give Miltenberger a big gap in the left center field power alley. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Chad Miltenberger. As the pitcher, Swain, on the mound, the pitch is up high and a full count now to Miltenberger.
I got to think the grounds crew, the way they did the infield in here, that it's going to take a literal torrential downpour for about an hour now to call this game again, because the players are out there, the infield's ready to go. They're going to play baseball.
Miltenberger swings and misses at a strike 3 pitch. That's all for Miltenberger. That's all for the Warriors. They go quietly in the 6th. Up 1, 2, 3. No runs, no hits, no errors. And after 6 complete, Lewis Clark State leads Azusa Pacific 6-0 in the NAIA Championship ball game. Just getting the totals here from Charlie Epler, attendance-wise here. This game, 4,670. Did we count everybody twice here after they came back after the rain delay, Charlie? No. Okay, that gives us a total of 33,613 for the World Series, which broke the old record of 29,006, which was set in 1979 in Nashville. So the Warriors with a new attendance record here, the first year of the NAIA World Series in Lewiston. As the leadoff batter, Franco hits an easy fly ball to the second baseman, Hormel, for out number 1. Franco is an F4 for the first out of the inning, and Joe Grayson will step up. You got all that written down, Jay?
So once again, the attendance tonight, 4,674 people, and Rod Gehring wins the score. Yeah, Rod wins with 4,500 he predicted, and the total attendance now for the World Series here in the past 8 days has been 33,613, so Lewiston, Clarkston, and surrounding area baseball fans, pat yourselves on the back as we set an NAIA record ourselves with having the most fans. So it's a plus to the baseball fans for here in the Lewiston, Clarkston area and surrounding areas, and it's just goes to show that you can bring in a lot of people here to Harris Field in 8 days.
1-1 pitch hit in the hole between shortstop Harris and Thomas, and that will be a base hit for Joel Grayston. 6th base hit given up by Trace Chezeski, and with 1 out, the Cougars have a runner at first base. Grayston with a base hit down to first. That'll bring up Rob Amble, the cleanup batter, the left fielder, who is 2 for 3, has a single in the first, a single in the 5th, and he struck out in the 3rd, hitting .364 in the World Series. Rob Amble will step up with 1 out in the top of the 7th. The runner at first will take the lead as Chezeski from the stretcher is a move over, and sliding back safely is Joe Grayston. Oh, we just had our little runner, our little Shane Grubb, ran back up here just to tell us a little kid down in the bathroom heard him on the radio. So somebody's down in the bathroom, I guess, listening on the radio. The next pitch to Amble is a call strike, and Amble has no ball, 1 strike count here.
They're staying dry no matter where they are. They're just trying to find a place to stay dry here at Harris Field. I guess the bathroom's as good a place as any.
Lead off, Grayston at first, held on by Brock. The pitch to the plate, hit up over the middle. This will be straight up the center for a base hit. As Amble gets the base hit, holding at second will be Grayston. And with 1 out, the Cougars have runners at first and second. 2 base hits in a row here, given up by Trace Chezeski. And that will bring up Larry Babb, the designated hitter. Larry Babb 0 for 3.
Number 21.
Rob Amble now, the batter that just got the single right up the middle, is 3 for 4 tonight. His only unsuccessful trip back in the 3rd inning as he struck out. So he's got 3 singles in 4 times at bat. 2 base runners on, 1 out here in the top half of the 7th inning, and Trace shakes off the sign for Miltonberger and is ready to go against Larry Babb.
First pitch to Babb, fouled back to the screen, 1 strike. Well, I'm not going to say anything about Babb in his hitting, as he was hitting now, he's hitting 143 in the tournament, 0 for 3 in this ball game, so he's 2 for 17. And just last night, or the last time they played these guys, Saturday night, I was talking about Babb just having 1 hit, and about that time he cracked a home run. So he has 2 hits in the tournament, 1 of those a home run. Hits this ball slowly on the ground. Kyle Brock will field it, goes to Chezeski, covering the bag at first for out number 2. As Brock to Chezeski, the runners move over as Grayston to 3rd and Amble to 2nd, but Larry Babb is out on a fielder's choice for out number 2, and that will bring up J.P. McIver, the first baseman. McIver had a base hit in the 6th inning, and he grounded out twice, his first 2 times up, so he's 1 for 3, and the tournament hitting .294. 2 runs in scoring position for now for the Cougars, as here in the 7th inning, back-to-back base hits by Grayston and Amble, and Chezeski with 2 outs will work from the stretch. So the total attendance, 33,613. Okay, 33,613, which broke the old mark by about, 4,600?
Exactly, the old mark, which is
29,006, I think.
29,006. Let me see, like my third.
Swinging miss. Strike 1. A ball and a strike to J.P. McIver in the top of the 7th inning. Lewis Clark State with a 6-0 lead here in the championship game of the 1984 NAIA World Series. The Warriors have been to the finals 3 other times and have finished second 3 other times. They want the first place trophy this year as the pitch is up high from Chezeski for a 2-ball, 1-strike count. The Warriors have now moved up to number 2 in the all-time win column in World Series play as they now have 22 victories behind only Lewis of Illinois, who has 30. Here's a fly ball hit to center field. Keith Peterson arranges over, makes the catch out, number 3, and that's it for the Cougars in the 7th. As they pick up no runs, they had 2 hits, they leave 2 men on base, and after 6.5 innings of play, Lewis Clark State leads 6-0. Bottom of the 7th inning, and the Warriors with a 6-0 lead will send Al Peterson, Rick Pegram, and Dale Bonfield to the plate, numbers 4, 5, and 6. As Greg Swain returns to the mound for the Azusa Pacific Cougars. The Warriors have picked up 6 runs, 10 hits, and committed 1 error. The Cougars have no runs on 7 hits and no errors.
Al Peterson now has tied the record for most runs scored in a tournament. He needed 1 coming into this game, and he now has that 1 back in the 7th or 5th inning. So Al Peterson has tied the record for most runs scored in a tournament as he scored back in the 5th, and he's got 14 runs scored throughout the World Series.
Peterson stepping up with a count, 1 ball, no strikes. As the first pitch misses outside, Peterson takes a look at the second ball from Swain. Fastball outside, and the count goes 2 balls, no strikes. Here comes head coach Jim Giacomazzi out to the pitcher's mound after the first 2 pitches thrown by Swain here in the 7th inning. We wanted to see if Swain might be tightening up as he makes a quick trip, and he's headed back towards the dugout. Let's watch and see. Can't really see the bullpen from up here, but yes, I can see an arm throwing there. Looks like a left-handed arm. As they do have a left-hander, it looks like warming up down in the bullpen.
Now that's talent, folks. Wayne Allen has just peered his way through 3 flags, 21 fans, and the netting here around Harris Field's infield to tell you that there is a left-handed arm down there throwing a baseball.
Peterson pops a high fly ball behind the pitcher's mound, or behind the home plate area, and will drift McIver over. Did he make the catch? Yes, he did. McIver made the catch right in front of the dugout. So Al Peterson sends a high fly ball that the first baseman McIver runs over to catch for an F3 to start the 7th inning, out number 1, bottom of the 7th. That'll bring up Rick Pegram, and then Dale Bonfield in the bottom of the 7th. Lewis Clark State with a run on 1 hit in the 2nd. They had a run on 1 hit in the 4th, and the big inning, the rain delay inning, they had 4 runs on 5 hits. They had 2 of those runs before the rain delay. Or let's see, I guess it was, what was the score during the rain delay? 2-0 or 3-0?
It was 3-0 during the rain delay.
Okay, so they, after the rain delay, then they picked up 3 more runs on 2 more hits. As Dale Bonfield, the first batter to come to the plate after the rain delay, had an RBI single and a 2 RBI single for Brian Thomas in the 5th inning, and the Warriors have a 6-0 lead. No ball, 1 strike count to Rick Pegram. Pegram is close now, Jay, as he has 2 hits in this game. He scored 2 runs. And he now has 13 hits, so he has to be close. I think the record is 14, and Miltonberger and him were both close to that. Chad with no hits tonight. And Pegram on a check swing. This could be a base hit right here. As the third baseman, Dale Cruz, will have to come in. Will feel it, but will not have a play at first base. Rick Pegram has his 3rd hit. He now has 14, and it should be a record.
Rick Pegram, coming into this game tonight here in the World Series, needed 3 base hits to become the tournament leader for most hits in a tournament. And with that nice check swing down the third base line and Rick outrunning it, it is scored as a base hit. He now ties the record for the most hits in the World Series.
Base hit number 11 in the game for the Warriors. Base hit number 3 in the game for Rick Pegram. 14 in the tournament. As Bonfield hits the first pitch deep to right field. Right fielder Skeevel has to go back. He's to the warning track and has room to make the catch for out number 2. So Bonfield brings the crowd to their feet, but it's a long fly ball out number 2 in the bottom of the 7th, and Keith Peterson will step in.
If we check the lights here at Harris Field to give you the weather conditions, that's how I gauge my rainfall. And at this point, to be honest with you, it looks as though it's lightening up compared to last inning. The rain is just a real light shower right now, and batter's not worried about drying off the bats, and the pitcher doesn't seem to be affected by it. So the rainfall here at Harris Field diminishes after a 2-hour and 2-minute delay, and we've got baseball continuing here in the bottom of the 8th for the or 7th for the Warriors.
Pegram, the runner at first, will take the lead as Swain, the pitcher, works from the stretch. Checks the runner and now comes to the plate. And the first pitch gets away from the catcher, Franco, but he pops right back out on it. About 5 steps up the first base line, and the count will be 1 ball to Keith Peterson. Peterson scored the first Warrior run when he hit a solo home run in the 2nd inning with 1 out. Last time up, he had a base hit. Then he was hit by a pitch in the 5th. So he is 2 for 2. And now in the tournament, he is 3 for 7. Once again, the lead off of first by Pegram. Throw over is not in time. As Swain, the left-hander, on the mound. From Downey, California, Greg Swain, 6'4", 210-pound senior. On the year, he has won 18 games and lost just 5. As he's ready to come to the plate, swinging miss by Peterson. The ball gets by the catcher. There goes the runner to second base. Pegram will take a big turn and pull in at second base. I thought maybe they called that a foul tip, but the runner at second base, Pegram, seems to be planted there. So apparently we will have to give pass ball to the catcher, and Pegram will go down to second base. Keith Peterson will be at the plate with a count of 1-1 strike. Swain having to work his way off the mound over to the grass area and dig a little bit of the mud off his cleats here.
Have the proverbial pitcher's palette knife out there for Greg Swain to get the mud that has crept its way in between his cleats out there on the mound.
Well, he must have had to pitchers must carry that right there with him as he dug that out of his back pocket, I think. And now he'll look into Leland Franco for the sign with a count 1-1 to Keith Peterson, the Warrior center fielder. Here's a move to second, and Pegram is back. As the second baseman, Roddy, takes the throw and goes back to the mound, and Greg Swain. And the throw gets by the second baseman, and Peterson will hold. Peterson will hold at second base. A base hit RBI for Keith Peterson. Scoring from second base is Rick Pegram, and light up scoreboard with run number 7 on the board for the Warriors. 7 runs, 12 hits for Lewis Clark State as they are starting to run away with this NAIA championship here in Lewiston.
Well, Keith Peterson with a pretty good percentage so far going into that fourth at-bat. A home run back in the second, a single in the fourth inning. He reached base on a hit by pitch in the fifth, and now with a double here in the seventh inning. And the Warriors' bats, which have been taken all week long to come to life, have literally come aflame here as Peterson whacks a double, knocks in another run as Pegram crosses the plate. And the Warriors lead the game 7-0, and that brings the trip from Jim Giacomazzi to the mound as he'll talk with his pitcher, Greg Swain, and I would imagine we'll have a pitching switch right here.
Well, we'll have to have a pitching change. That is his second visit to the mound, so here comes the new pitcher, and it is a left-hander coming in out of the bullpen as the Warriors now have scored 1 run on, 1-2 hits this inning. They still have a runner at second base with 2 outs, and we have a pitching change for the Cougars. We're in the bottom of the 7th inning. Lewis Clark State leads this World Series Championship game by a score of 7-0. We'll take a break and be back with more baseball right after this. Relief pitcher for the Cougars is Wayne Edwards, a 6'4", 170-pound sophomore. He is a left-hander. As he will face Brian Thomas. Thomas lashes the first pitch down the line, third base side, fair ball. 1 run is in. Here comes the run around second base to score. As going down to second base with a stand-up double is Brian Thomas.
So 1 pitch, 1 hit. Brian Thomas just laces that ball right down the left field line. And Rob Amble for the Cougars couldn't do anything but watch it go by. And here comes Wayne Edwards. 1 pitch, 1 hit. And Edwards in the World Series so far has got 1 win as he's appeared in 1 game. He pitched 9 complete innings. He faced 34 batters, gave up 1 run on 8 hits. His ERA is 1.00. And he had 6 strikeouts and gave up 3 base on balls. But so far he's thrown 1 pitch and had 1 hit by Brian Thomas.
Kyle Brock will step in 0 for 3 as the first pitch to him is outside for a ball. Kyle Brock in the tournament coming into the game was hitting .455 with 2 home runs and 3 RBIs. Wayne Edwards in relief was greeted rudely as Brian Thomas hits the first pitch down the third base line for a double, scoring a run. And the Warriors now have 2 runs on 3 hits here in the 7th inning, and they are starting to blow them out. It's a 8-0 lead, I guess it is. I'm 1 ahead of myself. 8-0 Warriors lead, bottom of the 7th. Brock takes the pitch up high. And it's a 3-ball, no strike count here.
Greg Swain's pitching stats, he pitched 6 2/3 innings. He faced 35 batters. He gave up 8 runs, all of them earned. He gave up 12 hits to the Warrior hot bats, 1 strikeout, 1 base on balls, and the Warriors have an 8-0 lead here in the top of the 8th.
Brock steps back in. The 3-0 pitch hits the outside corner, and it's a 3-1 call. Brock on his way down to first.
You're ahead of yourself on the runs. I'm ahead of myself on the innings. It's bottom of the 7th. Still can't get used to having the Warriors as the home team.
Well, the Warriors had a stretch there in the middle of this World Series after the first game where they were the visiting team for 4 games, and they did finally get visitors, and here they are visitors again tonight, or the home team again tonight, so they're down in their third base dugout. And Kyle Brock will step back in with a 3-1 count. He lets the pitch go, and it's a call, strike 2. So a full count now to Kyle Brock. 3 balls, 2 strikes with 2 outs in the bottom of the 7th inning. The Warriors with 2 runs in here on 1, 2, 3 hits. A double by Thomas, a single by Keith Peterson, a single by Rick Pegram. And the Warriors have an 8-0 lead in the NAIA Championship game for 1984. They've been to this championship game the last 3 years. And this year it looks like they want to come out on top as the pitch to Brock this time is a ball. And with a 3-2 count, Brock gets a base on balls down to first base. And the Warriors will runners at first and second. Brock at first, Thomas at second. And the leadoff batter, Rusty Harris, will come to the plate as Harris had a double his first time up and is 0 for 3 the next 3 trips. So he's 1 for 4 in the tournament, 7 for 26, hitting .267.
Only the second base on balls given up so far in almost 7 complete innings of play. Greg Swain gave up a base on balls in his pitching stint. Now the reliever, Wayne Edwards, has given up his first base on balls.
Pitches up high to Harris, and he takes it 1 ball. 1 ball, no strikes to Rusty Harris. In 1983, last year, remember that ball game in Lubbock, Texas, when Lubbock Christian beat the Warriors 12-9 in the championship game? The year before that, Grand Canyon beat the Warriors 10-6 in the championship game. As the pitch is a call strike to Rusty Harris, and a 1 ball, 1 strike count.
Can't help but think of memories of Jim Odell at the plate with the bases loaded in the top of the 9th inning, I guess it was, and struck out. And that was the end of her. 12-9 in Lubbock last year.
And I think he'd only struck out something 5 times all year long, and he took a called third strike, which I guess was a questionable call. The people that were there, the ball squirts by the catcher, Franco. The runners will advance to second and third. The pitch hits Harris, and he'll go to first base. So Rusty, after waiting for a decision from the home plate umpire, C.J. Mitchell, finally gets the call down to first as he was hit by the pitch, and the runners all move up.
So far, the stint for Wayne Edwards has been nothing but disaster as he gives up a base hit, 1 base on balls, and a hit by pitch. He's given up 1 run, also 1 hit. And I would think that Wayne Edwards is probably wondering what he's doing with the bases loaded and 2 outs and going to face Scott Hormel at the plate.
Hormel 1 for 4 as the first pitch to him is outside, and there's no room for Hormel. The bases are loaded with Warriors in the bottom of the 7th inning. Lewis Clark State with an 8-0 lead. Wayne Edwards in relief of Greg Swain on the mound from this full windup, and the pitch is down low for a 2 ball, no strike count. Hormel and then Chad Miltenberger with the bases loaded here, but there are 2 outs in the bottom of the 7th as Edwards will work from the full windup with the bases loaded. Stepping back in is Hormel, and the pitch is a call strike. 2 balls and a strike. The crowd is a good crowd, considering we had a 2-hour rain delay in the 5th inning of this ball game. Many people seeking shelter in their cars underneath the bleachers, going home for a spell or two to their favorite watering holes for an hour or two. And we have a good, lively crowd that has returned for the completion of this ball game. As the 2-1 pitch misses outside, a 3 ball, 1 strike count now to Hormel with the bases loaded. A ball here, and a run would score on the base on balls. As Hormel steps back in, Edwards checks with his pitcher, Leland Franco, and here's the delivery to the plate. Outside, ball 4. Warriors score run number 4 on a walk. So give the batter Hormel an RBI. He'll go to first. Rusty Harris will go to second. Kyle Brock to third, and scoring from third base is Brian Thomas. Warrior run number 3 in the bottom of the 7th inning. So the Warriors now 3 runs on 1, 2, 3 hits this inning, and they now have a 9-0 lead.
So that brings to bat Chad Miltenberger, and so far, as we said before, if you count the base on balls as compared to the runs, you know that gets you in trouble. Milty with the bases loaded is going to take the first delivery. It is on the inside corner for strike 1, and the bases are all loaded up. Another run scores for the Warriors, a 9-0 lead here in the bottom half of the 7th.
Boy, Chad would like to tag one here with the bases loaded in the bottom of the 7th inning. The Warriors have a 9-0 lead. As the 0-1 pitch down low, and the count goes even to Chad Miltenberger at 1 ball and 1 strike.
Matter of fact, Chad Miltenberger is now tied an NAIA World Series record for most official at-bats. He needed 5 coming into the game. This is his 5th appearance. So he has now tied that record with 33 at-bats here in the World Series for 1984. And as Wayne said, I would think that the senior catcher from Clarkston, Washington, would love to tag one out here.
1 ball, 1 strike to Miltenberger as he steps back in. Here's a line shot, but right at the center fielder Marlott, who was pulled over into that gap once again. And the out is right to him for out number 3. As Miltenberger hit it on a line, but right at Marlott for out number 3. And with the bases loaded, the Warriors are gone in the 7th. They scored 3 runs on 3 hits, leaving 3 on base. And after 7 complete, the Warriors 9, the Cougars nothing. Top of the 8th, we were just looking at the number of hits that Tizesky has given up, a total of 7. In his first ball game, he went 9 innings, giving up 9 hits. And he has scattered the Cougar hits out here as he gave up 2 hits in the first. He gave up 1 in the 3rd, 1 in the 5th, 1 in the 6th, and 2 more in the 7th. But he has not been scored on here as we move to the top of the 8th, and he hits the leadoff batter, De La Cruz. So De La Cruz is hit by a pitch. He'll go down to first base. The leadoff runner on for the Cougars in the top of the 8th inning. That's the 3rd batter he's hit. We got so many NAIA World Series records that my brother Denny Grubb has typed up for us here that we're going to be looking all night. But I think hit by batters, I saw it on there somewhere. That's a new record.
That is a new record for LC. Is most hit batsman in a team or by a team in the tourney was 6, and now he's hit 3. And the new record will be 10 as it stands right now for Lewis Clark State College for hitting batters. So real good bullseye percentage so far for whacking batters at the plate.
Well, the Warriors are breaking all kinds of World Series records here tonight. They've broken some already coming into the game, and soon they are going to own many World Series records hitting-wise, and also now pitching-wise. The pitchers are coming in here, but they're not picking up the ones they would like, because they have hit 7 batters now. Also, I think Brian Thomas has made a tournament record for errors, and so he's made 7 errors in the tournament. The old record was 6, but most of the records being broke here by the Warriors are from the hitting.
Most runners left on base also. The Warriors now own that record as they've left 9 men on base, and 66 will be the total.
Skeevel hits a shot between the first baseman Brock and the second baseman Hormel that will go into right field. Peterson will field it, and a base hit for Rick Skeevel. His first one of the ball game. He goes to first, and holding at second is Phil De La Cruz. So the Cougars in the top of the 8th are not dead, as the first 2 runners are on. De La Cruz was hit, and a base hit for Skeevel, and Jerry Marlott will come to the plate. Marlott was hit in the back of the head his last time up. In fact, he's been hit the last 2 times. He walked in the 3rd, was hit in the 4th, and hit in the 6th. As Chezeski's fastball hits the outside corner, strike 1.
Looking up at the lights here at Harris Field, the weather has now improved, and it's a perfect night for baseball, even though it's 10 minutes past 11 o'clock. Just a real light sprinkle falling now.
The 0-1 foul back to the screen, and the count goes to no balls and 2 strikes. Well, if you were able to dry the seats off out here and sit down in a nice dry area, you would be enjoying this baseball game. And even if you couldn't, you'd probably be enjoying this baseball game, as it is the World Series Championship for 1984. Jerry Marlott will step back in. The count to him is no balls and 2 strikes. No outs in the top of the 8th inning as Chezeski's fastball is outside. And a 1-2 count as Miltenberger with a good job of saving the pitch that's outside. And the count goes 1 ball, 2 strikes. Trace Chezeski on the mound. Looks down to Chad Miltenberger for the signal. The runner way off of first. Chezeski's pitch swung on and missed, strike 3. As Marlott goes down swinging for the first out of the inning in the top of the 8th. That's the 5th strikeout for Chezeski. We'll go to the top of the order, and Dan Roddy, the second baseman.
So here comes Dan Roddy, who in the first inning grounded out. 3rd inning he got a single. In the 4th inning he grounded out, and he grounded out in the 6th inning. So he's 1 for 4 now at the plate. His 5th plate appearance here in the top half of the 8th inning for the Cougars. 2 men on and 1 gone.
Dan Roddy with runners at first and second. Steps up, hits the ball up the middle. Thomas is right there, fields the ball. Will have to step on the bag. He dives for it in time to make the play at second, and the runners will be on the corners first and 3rd. Brian Thomas with a nice play as he got the ball up the middle, dove, and hit second base ahead of the runner, and that is out number 2. Looks like we have somebody thrown out. I think they threw the guy out at second base, and that would be Skeevel. As he slid into second, I saw the umpire motion with his arm as Skeevel made his way back to the dugout. Now Jim Giacomazzi is going to come over and have some jawing words with the second base umpire, as it looks like we have seen all of Rick Skeevel. As after that slide into second base, he got up and said something, and as he headed back towards the dugout, he got the big thumb. Jim Giacomazzi now looking towards the dugouts, and he does. I believe he has been thrown out. Rick Skeevel trying to get down to second base, and he was called out.
I believe
Jim Giacomazzi started towards his 3rd base box. Now he's right back out there. He has some more words for the umpire here.
The second base umpire making a motion to Jim Giacomazzi, such as you would best remove yourself from the playing field and go back to the 3rd base coaching box, or I will remove you along with Skeevel.
Number 5, Leland.
Apparently some sort of an argument between Skeevel and the second base umpire about whether or not he was out.
So Chezeski will work to the plate with 2 outs as he makes a fake move to 3rd base. Trace Chezeski facing Leland Franco, the catcher for the Cougars, who had a base hit in the 1st inning. He has flied out the next 3 times, so he's 1 for 4. In the tournament, he is 7 for 19 as he hits a long fly ball to left field. Left fielder coming over is Rick Pegram. The ball will get by, and this is a base hit. 1 run will score. Coming around second, heading for 3rd is Dan Roddy, and Roddy will score as he comes around to score the first 2 runs here for the Cougars in the top half of the 8th. As that was a double down the left field line, Pegram made a nice attempt at it, and it looked like Pegram might have shaken himself up a little bit out there as he made a nice dive and then really was slow getting up, as the double will be Franco. Dan Roddy went all the way around from first base to score, and Phil De La Cruz scores from second. So the Cougars have 2 runs in here in the top of the 8th inning, and we have a 9-2 score now in favor of Lewis Clark State. Ed Cheff out to check over Pegram. He appears to be okay as Pegram dove for the ball, and the crowd was really silent, as though nothing was even happening. As you looked up, Pegram was chasing the ball, and 2 runs scored. The score now 9-2. We're in the top of the 8th. and 2 outs. Joe Grayston stepping in as Franco, the runner at second base, and Grayston takes a call strike. So Trace Chizesky with 2 outs has given up his first 2 runs. 2 runs on 8 hits for Azusa Pacific as Chizesky gets a high fly ball from the batter Grayston, but this will drift out of play. And the count will be no balls and 2 strikes. For the Warriors, 9 runs, 13 hits. They've committed 1 error. For the Cougars, it's 2 runs on 9 hits and a 9-2 lead for Lewis Clark State in the top of the 8th inning. 2 outs, runner at second, Franco.
The way Pegram shook that off, you can't help but think that maybe he just knocked the wind out of himself out there in left field. He was real slow getting up and almost as though he had lost his breath for a second. Looks all right now. 2 runs across the plate now for Azusa, and there's 2 outs here in the top half of the 8th inning.
No balls, 2 strikes. The right-handed hitter steps in and just holds on a curve as he wanted to go after the pitch outside, but he held up and the count will go to a ball, 2 strikes. Joe Grayston at the plate will be followed by Rob Amble in the top of the 8th inning. The Cougars have 2 runs on 1-2 hits. 2 runs, 2 hits for the Cougars in the 8th. 9-2 lead for Lewis Clark State. About 2,500 people still in attendance here, as total attendance before the rainout was 4,674. 1-2 pitch way inside, almost hits Grayston. Count goes even at 2 balls, 2 strikes. So 4,674, biggest crowd to ever watch a baseball game in Lewiston, biggest crowd ever at Harris Field, and sets a new World Series total attendance record of 33,613.
The batter, Joe Grayston, and Chad Miltenberger having a few words here at home plate, and home plate umpire C.J. Mitchell kind of gently pushes Chad to one side, and Chad gently pushes home plate umpire C.J. Mitchell to the other side, moves back in to say another word to Joe Grayston at the plate, as Joe felt maybe he was brushed back from the plate by Trace's pitch, but we'll go back to action here with a count 2-2.
Let's see what Miltenberger calls here on a 2-2 pitch to Grayston. Let's see if he calls a breaking ball outside. The pitch is a breaking ball outside, and that's all for Grayston, as that's all for the Cougars in the top half of the 8th inning, as they pick up 2 runs on 2 hits, leave a man on base, and after 7.5 innings of play, it's a 9-2 lead for the Lewis Clark State Warriors. Relief here for the Cougars as Rich Skeevel was thrown out of the ball game after arguing a call at second base. He was replaced in right field by John Catlett. Wayne Edwards is the relief pitcher as he came in for Greg Swain in the last inning. Wayne Edwards, a 6'4", 170-pound sophomore, is ready to face the Warriors in the bottom of the 8th. It's Al Peterson, Rick Pegram, and Dale Bonfield as the same 3 that led off the inning in the 7th. Al Peterson, coming into the game, was hitting an even .400. In this ball game, he's 2 for 4. He is now 12 for 29 in the World Series. He has 3 home runs, 2 doubles, 9 RBIs, and has scored a record tying 14 runs as he steps in and fouls the first pitch back for a strike.
So the Warriors now, they've got 9 runs on 13 hits. They've committed 1 error. Azusa Pacific, 2 runs on 9 hits, and they've committed no errors. And that brings to bat Al Peterson here in the bottom half of the 8th inning. And the rain is literally subsided here at Harris Field, and it's actually, hate to coin the phrase, but a perfect night for baseball here tonight.
Peterson steps back in, hits the pitch hard between the shortstop and third baseman. Base hit into left field for Peterson as he rounds the bag at first and will hold. Peterson leads off the bottom of the Warrior 8 with a single. He'll be at first base. Rick Pegram and Dale Bonfield now in the bottom half of the 8th. The Warriors picking up hit number 14. They have 9 runs, 14 hits. For the Cougars, they did not score until last inning when they had 2 runs on 2 hits. 4,600...
Number 7, Rick.
Lost my count.
4,607
is the official attendance. New record for Lewiston, new record for Harris Field, and a total attendance, a new record here in the NAIA World Series. This is game number 19 of the series, the championship game, as a move to first and Peterson back under the tag by McIver.
In fact, the new attendance record here over the 8-day tournament is 33,613. That tops the old record, by 4,607, as tonight's attendance was over 4,674 was the total attendance for tonight's game. So we beat the old record by 4,607, which is, I'd say, pretty good for a stadium that only holds, what, 4,300? And the old record was from Nashville, where they must seat about 9,000, as they had 8,800 at one ball game. That's a record. That's the record for the most at a tournament game, is 8,700. Here's a sharply hit ball by Rick Pegram to center field. Marlott goes back to the wall. He goes back, and dropped it on the wall. Here comes Peterson. He trips around second. 2 Warriors are at second base. Peterson will stay as trying to make his way back to first is Rick Pegram, now in a rundown. Peterson breaks to third. We have 2 Warriors in a rundown, staying at second, and now tagging, going back
to first is the batter Pegram, and a triple one down. We got them both in a rundown. The Warriors will end up with a runner at second one way or another. Now they're going to make Peterson stay at second. Going to first, and everybody's safe. Pegram will be safe at first base. Holy cow! I've never seen a rundown like that in my life. As Peterson, every time they would start to go after the runner Pegram, Peterson would go off the bag. They'd try to run him down. They'd throw it over and try to get Pegram. Finally, they said, well, hey, let's keep Peterson here at second base and get this guy between first and second. The throw wasn't in time. Everybody's safe. We're in the bottom of the 8th inning, and the Warriors have the first 2 runners on.
If that was not the niftiest piece of base running I've ever seen in my life, Al Peterson, who got caught up on second base, was trying to make his way to third as Pegram hit the ball out into center field, and the center fielder Marlott couldn't handle the ball at the wall, and these guys just traded bases there for about a minute and a half on the infield.
Well, what you do there, you want to make sure you get one runner at second. It don't matter if the other guy goes out. So the Warriors are going to make sure one guy was at second base at one time. Pegram was at second. Peterson there and coming back. Pegram just tagged the bag at second and headed back towards first. As that brings up the Bonfield, the DH, he hits the first pitch down the line, a high fly ball that will drop between front of the second baseman. A throw to second, not in time, and everybody's safe again. Boy, it's getting crazy here now. As we were just trying to explain that last rundown, Bonfield hits the first pitch, a lazy fly ball. The first baseman, McIver, went back. He couldn't get to it. The right fielder, Catlett, couldn't get to it. It dropped right in front of him. They tried to throw to second base to force out Pegram, but that was not in time, so Pegram is down to second. A base hit for Dale Bonfield. He's at first. And the bases are loaded in the bottom of the 8th inning with 3 consecutive hits to lead off the inning.
Jim Giacomazzi, the head coach for Azusa now, is going to go out. He's brought his infielders into the mound. He's going to have a little discussion with everybody on the mound right now, and there could possibly be a pitching change, but that was a series of errors and events that I've just never seen before in a baseball game, and I've attended a lot of baseball games, but base runners tagging up at second, both Pegram and Peterson there on the last play, and then Bonfield, who loops a fly over the first baseman's head. It drops in for a fair ball, and nobody covering second base. The base runners, of course, were holding because the ball had not been caught, and they realized it was fair. Both base runners advanced. Everybody's safe. Bases loaded. No outs. Bottom of the 8th, and a team meeting on the mound.
Well, the Cougars fell apart like this in the 8th inning. In the first game, the Warriors won 10-6 as they committed 3 errors in the 8th inning, giving the Warriors 2 insurance runs. And they are doing it here again in the bottom of the 8th inning as Lewis Clark State now has the bases loaded, no outs, and Fred Quintero will hit for Keith Peterson.
Well, this animated crowd of probably 2,700 people have literally gone wild here in the past 2 plays as the errors committed give the LC Warriors loaded bases and up to bat. Here comes
Freddie Quintero.
He's going to pinch hit for Kyle Brock.
I think they're going to give Freddie a chance to hit here, even though he is a left-handed hitter. As Fred, a senior on the Warrior squad, could be making his last appearance here in front of a home Warrior crowd. So they're going to let Quintero hit here, even though he is a left-hander against a left-handed pitcher with no outs, bases loaded, and Quintero takes a strike. Fred in the World Series, having a good tournament as he is hitting .392. Bases loaded for Fred Quintero. No outs, bottom of the 8th. The Warriors have a 9-2 lead as the pitcher Edwards pitched to the plate is swung on and missed for strike 2. And with an 0-2 count, Fred Quintero will step back in and face Wayne Edwards. Boy, this has been a crazy inning as a double rundown, Peterson and Pegram. Peterson caught between second and third. Pegram at first and second. Both of them ending up safe at first and second. As Edwards comes to the plate, Quintero over to second base. In the hole, 1 run will score. Here comes the second around third base. Ed Cheff holds him up, and the bases will remain loaded with no outs and a run in. 10 runs now for the Warriors. Base hit for Freddie Quintero, the big senior. He has played 4 years here at Lewis Clark State, and Ed Cheff puts him in the bottom of the 8th with the left-handed pitcher, and the lefty against the lefty gets the RBI single. As that will move Bonfield to second base, Rick Pegram will go to third. Al Peterson scores, and there he just broke the World Series record. Pegram scores his 15th run of the World Series, and we could read the stats all night that Denny Grubb has worked up for us here on these World Series records, as he probably had to stay up for a couple of nights just to figure all those out. As Thomas will be at the plate with no outs, the score 10-2, and the Warriors, I think, Jay, are going to get their first NAIA championship here right in front of the home crowd, and couldn't think of a better place to do it.
As we came into this game tonight, the Warriors with a very positive attitude of losing that bridesmaid's image, and Alan Peterson now, who has 15 runs scored in the World Series, also carries home with him a nice record as he scored 15 runs, the old tournament record 14. And that is going to do it for the pitcher on the mound right now as Wayne Edwards, who had a successful outing his first time for the Azusa Pacific Cougars, says bye-bye. And we will have a pitching change at Harris Field. So with the score 10-2, the bases loaded, no outs in the bottom half of the 8th inning. We'll take a break from Harris Field with the Warriors on top 10-2.
The new pitcher for the Cougars is Craig Gutman, big guy, 6'7", 220-pound sophomore from Lenox, California, and he will face Bill Stevenson, the pitch hitter here for the Warriors. Hitting for Brian Thomas, it's Bill Stevenson as he takes the pitch outside for a ball 1. Bases loaded, Warriors with no outs in the bottom of the 8th inning. Lewis Clark State adding some insurance runs, making sure that the 1984 championship trophy is all theirs. And they have the bases loaded, no outs. And Stevenson at the plate with a 1-ball count. Gutman's delivery, line shot into right field. This will score at least 1. As coming in to score from third base is Pegram. The runners will hold, and the bases are loaded with another Warrior run to the plate. Rick Pegram scores from third base, and the rest of the runners move up.
So here Ed Cheff gives a couple of people that have been sitting in the dugout time to come out and do some pinch hitting, and just make their appearance here in the World Series. And what do? The 2 pinch hitters that come in both get line singles. We scored 2 more runs for the Warriors here in the bottom half of the 8th inning, and it's 11-2 now, and the Warriors are just making a heyday out of it here against the Cougars.
The Warriors now in the 8th inning have sent 5 batters to the plate, 5 batters and 5 consecutive singles. 2 runs have scored. The bases are loaded, no outs, and Kyle Brock will step up. Kyle will bat from the left side this time, as he is a switch hitter, facing big Craig Gutman on the mound, a sophomore, and the pitch is a called strike. Kyle Brock on the ball game is 0 for 3. 5 for 14 in the tournament, hitting .442, as will be the first time he's hit from the left side here in the ball game. As Brock steps back in with the 0-1 pitch, a slow breaking ball, it's called strike 2. And Brock looks at the strike, and a count is no balls, 2 strikes. With the bases loaded, there are no outs as the Warriors have 5 consecutive hits in the bottom of the 8th inning as they are trying to wrap this championship up here in front of the home crowd. 4,600 people paid to get into the ballgame tonight, and there are about 2,500 here right now. After a 2-hour rain delay, the Warriors' bats did not cool off at all during that rain delay, Jay. The water didn't do a thing to them. As they might have added a little extra pop as the count to Brock is a ball, 2 strikes as the fastball misses outside.
They moved into Warrior Gym during the break. Ed Cheff keeping his crew warm, and I think they must have taken batting practice in there as they've come out just firing here in the last 2 innings.
Well, they could have. They got the batting cages up above in the old Student Union building in there as Brock fouls the pitch box, and the count is still a ball, 2 strikes to Kyle Brock. Rusty Harris is due up next in the top of the order.
Wayne Edwards in his pitching stint pitched 1 1/3 innings. He faced 9 batters, gave up 2 runs on 4 hits, no strikeouts, 2 base on balls, and 2 earned runs. So Edwards, who did a great job in his first appearance in the World Series, not so good here the second time around. And that brought to the mound, of course, Gutman, who's now in relief of Edwards. Bases loaded, and the next pitch comes to the plate inside, and the count is 2 balls and 2 strikes to the switch hitter, Kyle Brock, who's at the mound, or at the plate, this time batting left-handed, first time tonight.
Looks like we have a pitch hitter due up next is Rusty Harris, the batter up next. Looks like that's Jamie Archibald warming up in the on-deck circle, another left-handed hitter. Big Wayne Gutman on the mound, 6'7", 220-pound sophomore. Right-handed pitcher, bases loaded. The count to Brock is 2 balls, 2 strikes. As the pitch down low in the dirt, nice stop by Franco, the catcher. As the count will go full now, 3-2.
Franco looks like he might have gotten the wind knocked out of him as that pitch kind of hit down in the hard dirt right in front of home plate where they had the tarp, and it looks as though he might have taken it right in the chest cavity and just knocked the wind out of him for a second. He's up and all right now.
Well, the wind seems to be knocked out of the sail of the whole Azusa Pacific Cougar team here. As you take a look at them out on the field, they seem to kind of be dragging around out there now. As after that rain delay, they've been on the road for about 2 weeks now through the area playoffs and into the World Series. And it looks like to me the Azusa Pacific Cougars are thinking about heading home here, as they have been here in Lewiston, Idaho for, about 8 days. So they probably are getting a little weary of the living out of the suitcase. As they look a little down right now, and they trail by 9, 11-2. No outs, bases loaded. Kyle Brock hits the shot sharply into the power alley left center. This will score a couple. As Brock is heading around first, going to second base. 1 run in, 2 runs in. Here comes the third Warrior halfway down. He's in a rundown. The ball gets by the third baseman. He will score. 3 Warriors score, and Brock is at third base. Kyle Brock, he'll come on home. The ball goes into the Warrior dugout. A dead ball, and Kyle Brock with the bases loaded gets a double. He gets 3 RBIs. He scores himself, and call this over. Whoa, the Warriors here in the 8th inning. Everybody is scoring. inning. Let's see. We got Bonfield from third. We got Peterson. Make that Quintero for Peterson. Pitch hitting. Scoring from second. Bill Stevenson from first.
Right.
Kyle Brock gets a double. We'll give him 3 RBIs. As the third runner was coming around, they tried to get Brock as he was going to third, and the ball got by the third baseman, De La Cruz. So Kyle Brock scores, and the Warriors have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 runs in the bottom of the 8th inning. 6 runs on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hits. 6 runs, 6 hits. Warriors have a 15-2 lead, Jay. And I hate to look at that score, 15-2, thinking about who at the radio station picked the score of 15-1. You remember?
Oh, Lord, I'm not sure I want to remember. Who did?
I believe it's you're on the news reporter Terry Pollock had a 15-1 score. You guys aren't going to let a...
Terry Pollock?
Yeah, I couldn't believe she picked...
15-1?
I told Tim she'd been hanging around Texans too long when she picked that 15-1 score, but she could be pretty close to right on the nose here. As Stevenson, or Archibald is the pitch hitter here for Rusty Harris, and the count to Archibald is no balls, 2 strikes.
Well, the score sheets here for Wayne, Rod, and myself, as we all keep score sheets rolling at the same time, look a little bit like a chicken might have gotten loose on him here for a while, especially right now as 6 runs have come in for LC.
Check swing by Archibald, hits a slow roller to the first baseman, McIver. He fields it, bobbled it, fielded it again, and steps on the bag for out number 1. That's the first out of the inning, as Archibald on a check swing grounds out 3 unassisted for the first out, and this number 8 hitter to come to the plate. The number 2 batter in the lineup for the Warriors will be Scott Hormel, as he will step up. He is hitting .292 in the World Series. Hormel, the number 2 hitter, against Wayne Gutman, as the pitch is a called strike. One out here.
Oh, I'm sorry, Wayne Gutman, who is on the mound right now in relief of
As he started the ball game, he was 18-5 coming in, had given up only 6 runs, 5 earned runs, in 14 innings of action during the World Series. And, of course, he was relieved back in about the 6th inning, I guess it was, the 7th inning. Okay, as he pitched an inning and a half after the rain delay. And since then, it's been tattoo time for the Warriors as they come back after the rain delay hot, and they now have a 15-2 lead. During the rain delay, they were ahead 3-0. So since they have come back in the bottom of the 5th, they have scored 12 runs. Here's a slow bounder out in front of the plate. Hormel off his foot. The ball is fielded by the catcher, Franco, but it will be a dead ball. The count will go 3-2 to Scott Hormel. There's our little courier up here again, Shane. What about all these runs for the Warriors? Think that's a pretty good deal?
Yeah.
How come you're not home in bed?
'Cause I want to be.
A little kid's dream, be at a World Series Championship game at 11:30 at night. Just don't tell your mom. The Gutman pitch misses outside, and a walk to Scott Hormel as he will go down to first base. And the 9th batter to come to the plate for the Warriors is Chad Miltenberger. Miltenberger will step up as Chad, let's see. Well, Chad, no hits tonight. In 1, 2, 3, 4 official trips to the plate, 0 for 4. He's 12 for 32 in the tournament with 5 doubles, 2 RBIs, 2 doubles, 2 home runs, and 8 RBIs. As here comes once again Jim Giacomazzi, very slowly out of the Cougar dugout.
He had a little spring to his step back there in the 5th and 6th inning when he made trips to the mound, running out to talk to his pitchers. Now he just sort of slowly creeps out of the dugout there on the first base line. The run scores, or the line score so far for LC, 1 run in the 2nd, 1 run in the 4th, 4 runs in the 5th, no runs in the 6th, 3 runs in the 7th, 6 runs in the 8th, a total of 15 runs, 18 hits, 1 error, as compared to Azusa Pacific's 2 runs, 9 hits, and 2 errors. And you got to wonder that the LCA Warriors were going to put the icing on the cake tonight and win their first national championship in front of the hometown crowd that has now grown to about 3,000 people.
Well, the crowd, it does. They just keep continuing to pick up. I'm sure a lot of people have us on the radio and know the game is back on the air now. And they have got the old tickets out of the pocket and came back to the ballpark here, as after the rain has stopped, it's a nice night for baseball. And we are going to have a pitching change here. This will be Bob McCorkle. Bob McCorkle has only pitched in 4 games this year for the Azusa Pacific Cougars, as well, he has a good ERA, 0.00, but he's only pitched 5 innings, given up 4 hits, 1 run, no earned runs, 3 walks, and 6 strikeouts. So Bob McCorkle, who has pitched just 5 innings all year long for Azusa Pacific, is the pitcher now in the bottom of the 8th inning with 1 out. You just ran down the line scores, Jay, for the Warriors here in the 8th inning. It's 6 runs on 6 hits, as they have 5 singles, a double. The double by Kyle Brock, picking up 3 RBIs. And for the game now, 15 runs on 18 hits. I'm sure we're breaking all kinds of records here, but Denny's stat sheet there, the list goes on and on and on. We could talk about records all night long, I believe, here. Chad Miltenberger will step back in. Chad is ready to go to face Bob McCorkle, as the first pitch from McCorkle is a called strike.
Outfield plays Miltenberger. Matter of fact, the center fielder moves completely over right underneath the 95 KOZE sign in right center field, so they're really playing him to pull the ball to the right-hand side.
Well, they played Chad this way the first 4 times up as he takes the pitch for an 0-2 count. And last time up, he hit a line shot that was right at that center fielder. The center fielder is playing way over on the right field side, as the right fielder on the line, the center fielder way over. As here's a shot by Miltenberger, hit high. This once again will be to the center fielder, Marlott. He has a lot of room and makes the catch on the warning track. And F8, Miltenberger, that's out number 2 in the bottom of the 8th inning. And the player that led all this off in the 8th inning is Al Peterson. Peterson had a base hit and scored. That broke the World Series record, as he has now scored 15 runs. It'll be Al Peterson, the 10th batter to come to the plate for the Warriors in the bottom of the 8th inning. 15-2. Lewis Clark State has exploded as a pitch hits Peterson right in the back. So McCorkle, first pitch to Peterson, hits him in the back. He'll trot down to first base. And the Warriors are not gone yet. As at first, Peterson.
Pegram, left field.
Let's see, I've got so many lines here in the 8th inning. I guess that's Scott Hormel that goes to second base.
Hormel on second. Al Peterson on the hit pitch goes to first. Brings up Rick Pegram. In the meantime, I made an error. Chad Miltenberger only had 4 official at-bats up until this inning. Now he has had 5 official at-bats and does set the record for the most times at-bat, with 33 for the Warriors so far in this World Series tournament.
As stepping in is Chad Miltenberger. As Miltenberger flew out to the center fielder for the out. Getting hit by the pitch was Al Peterson. Here's a shot right at the first baseman, McIver. He takes it on the fly for out number 3. And that's all for the Warriors. They're gone in the 8th, but not before they picked up 6 runs on 6 hits. And as we go to the top of the 9th inning, the Warriors need 3 outs to claim the 1984 National Championship. It's do or die for the Azusa Pacific Cougars in the top of the 9th inning. They will have Rob Amble, Larry Babb, and the replacement for Skeevel, who is John Catlett. Left-handed hitting Rob Amble to step up. He was the NAIA Player of the Year this year. As on the mound is Trace Chizeski, who has gone the distance. The first pitch is 1 ball. Chizeski has once again done a fine job for the Warriors, as he has given up just 9 hits. He's given up 2 runs. As the pitch fouled back, and the count is even to 1 ball, 1 strike. So Chizeski trying to move his record to 12-1 on the year, as he is trying to get his 2nd World Series victory on the season. He's only a sophomore. He'll be back for 2 more seasons for the Warriors, as we'll take a look here in a moment for you at the seniors that will be graduating. The count is on the pitch. It misses down low, and it goes to 2 balls and 1 strike. I have them all underlined here in my roster. The Warriors, of their 18, see what do they got here, 20-man roster, as the pitch is inside. They will lose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players. They will lose Fred Quintero. He will graduate. Scott Hormel will graduate. Alan Peterson will graduate. Chad Miltenberger, Dan Danielson, Rick Pegram, and Scott Stender, all finishing their careers here for the Warriors. As the shot hit up the middle, Thomas behind the bag scoops over to first base in time. They get the runner at first. Thomas with a nice play at shortstop. Fielded the ball deep behind the bag at second base. Had a long throw to first. Kyle Brock with that big 6'2" stretch. And Rob Amble is gone 6-3 in the top of the 9th inning. The Warriors are down to 2 runs. So you take a look at this roster, and the Warriors have a lot of power coming back next year. They'll have, take a look, they got the infield almost set. They have Bonfield, Thomas, Harris, all infielders, all starters this year at one time or another. On the mound, they'll have Chizeski, Tony Deneen out of the bullpen, a big swing and a miss by Larry Babb. They'll have Schofield out of the bullpen, Jesse Castellan, who pitched the victory for the Warriors in the World Series, Mark Friedley, Jamie Archibald will be at first base. They'll have Keith Peterson in the outfield, Kyle Brock at first base. Could see Archibald moving to the outfield next year for the Warriors, as he has been out there some off and on this year. A curveball swung on and missed, and now Chizeski really coming on the mound. He wants that ball back to work to the plate. Also, they'll have back Toby Baldwin on the mound. So the Warriors, as you look ahead to next year, they once again will have another very good team. Right now, the record 51-13. Chizeski comes with a curve that's fouled back out of play, and the count remains at 0 balls, 2 strikes. So just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 graduating seniors here on this Warrior Ball Club. That is going to claim the first national championship for any collegiate ball club from Lewiston, Idaho. The count goes no balls, 2 strikes. As Larry Babb will step back in, the pitch hits him. Boy, well, they already have the record. They might as well add another one to it. A hit batter, Larry Babb, down to first. With 1 out, top of the 9th inning, it will be John Catlett at the plate.
Control problems right now for Trace Chizewski on the mound. A lot of it might be added to the fact that it is raining quite hard again here at Harris Field, and I'm sure the ball is probably getting a little wet and kind of tough to hang on there for Trace. So we're down to 2 outs now, and a national championship on the line for the LCSC Warriors, who lead 15-2, and it's all over except for the throwing right now, as the Warriors are really feeling the wind under their belt, and the crowd is just sitting here in basic anticipation. I think they can't believe the game is finally going to get over with.
Chizewski comes, and the pitch to Catlett misses outside for a ball. Tracy Chizewski on the mound with the runner at first, hit by a pitch, Larry Babb. 1 out in the top of the 9th inning, 15-2. The Warriors leading in the championship game of the 1984 World Series. Here's a base hit into left center field power alley. As coming over the center fielder Quintero and the left fielder Pegram. Pegram will cut it off and throw it back into the infield. The runners will hold at first and second with the base hit. Down to first goes Catlett. So the Cougars will not die here in the top of the 9th. They have 2 runners on and it out, and Phil De La Cruz will come to the plate. Yeah, that was J.P. McIver with the base hit, as Catlett came in, I guess, for Rich Skeevel, who was thrown out in the 7th inning. So this will be Phil De La Cruz to the plate here. De La Cruz, the third baseman. Looks like we'll have a pitch hitter for Azusa Pacific.
Ken Jones, freshman from Santa Monica, California, 160 pounds, 5 feet 10 inches tall.
Kind of interesting, a pitch hitter right-hander here against the right-handed pitching Trace Chizewski, as the rain is coming down once again at Harris Field, but we're in the top of the 9th with 1 out, and the pitch is a called strike.
Can't help but think that Coach Jim Giacomazzi would like to get all of his players in here to make a World Series appearance at any rate, say that they had a chance to play against the national champion LCSC Warriors if the game turns out the same as it is.
The 0-1 pitch is a breaking ball for a call, strike 2, and the count goes to no balls, 2 strikes, as the Warrior fans watch on under the rain. We see the umbrellas popping back out as the count 0-2 is hit right back, and a foul ball as Miltonberger pops out to field it, but that will be a foul ball, and the count remains at no balls, 2 strikes. Warrior World Series Baseball, the first year the World Series has ever been here in Lewiston, Idaho, the NAIA, and the new record crowd for the World Series, over 33,000 people, as the World Series will return to Lewiston next year. Here's a long fly ball hit towards right fielder Al Peterson in a couple of steps. He has it out number 2, an F9 for Phil De La Cruz. And the Warriors are down to 1 out and claiming the national championship, something the Warriors have been working for a long time. They first burst into the national scene in 1976 when Ramon Hooker, then the coach of the Warriors, guided the Warriors to a second-place finish. They have a third-place finish. They have a couple of third-place finishes, as they finished third in 1978 and 1980. They finished second in 1976, in 1982, in 1983, and in 1984. They are going to take it all, as they have a 15-2 lead with 2 outs and runners at first and second. Chizewski has the pitch foul back to the screen, and the count goes 1 ball and 1 strike.
So now the fans in anticipation here at Harris Field, everybody on their feet. This crowd of about 3,000 that made their way back after a 2-hour and 2-minute delay to see the LCSC Warriors wrap it up. 1 out to go.
1-1 misses down low. The Warriors are on the verge of breaking all sorts of NAIA records, and they are also moving up on the most victories ever by an NAIA team in a World Series. They will now have 23. The record is 30, as a swing and a miss for strike 2. And look at the Warriors down in front of the dugout there. They want the fans on their feet. The Warriors are out of the dugout waving their hats, and they want to strike out right here. They want the fans up, and the fans are up. With the count, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Trace Chizewski works from the stretch. The pitch to the plate, swung on and missed, strike 3. And the Warriors are the 1984 National NAIA champions as they defeat Azusa Pacific by a score of 15-2. And look at this happy group out here in front of pitcher's mound. Boy, all the Warriors are out there. Everybody but Ed Cheff, as he's over shaking hands with head coach Jim Giacomazzi from the Azusa Pacific Cougars. But the Warriors in front of the home crowd. Look at Chad Miltonberger. He's one happy guy. The Warrior captain, he is a big group around him as the Warriors win it all in 1984. Getting a ride amongst the shoulders of his Warrior players here, as Ed Cheff has accumulated an amazing record here at Lewis Clark State, as he has now had 2 third-place finishes, 2 second-place finishes, and he now has a national crown here from Lewiston, Idaho, as the Warriors are the champions here in 1984. What an amazing comeback for the Warriors. NAIA national champions, the Lewis Clark State Warriors.
This has been coverage of classic Warrior baseball, brought to you by Masters Body Works, Land Title of Nez Perce County, Fazari's Finest, The Diamond Shop, Joe Hall Ford, Happy Day Restaurants, Inland Cellular, P1 FCU, Twin Rivers Physical Therapy, Perfection Tire, Martin Insurance, Columbia Bank, and Follett's Mountain Sports. KOZE Sports is presented by The Diamond Shop.